Hello, my dudes. How's it going? And a welcome to the Thursday stream of the week. Yeah, we're back. Yesterday was pretty wild, huh? Managed to more or less finish the collab event on JP. And then, I mean, you know, the pity had to happen, but at least now I have myself a copy of Constantine. Very cool. But yeah, today, the VODs Karyoru stream that was originally meant to happen last week on Friday. But then I got a migraine like a 1 hour before the stream and I was like, okay, it's not doable. And then lo and behold, astronomically, today, this morning, I got out of bed. I woke up to my PC. I noticed, hey, my vision's pretty fucked up. I'm like, bro, is it just because I'm sleepy or not? Or this better not be? And yeah. It's another migraine. Awesome. But at least the silver lining is that it was in the morning. So I've had a chance to at least do some rest. Because usually when I get migraines, they're not the longest thing ever. So at least this time it wasn't like, you know, a bit before the stream. It was many hours before, so. And I certainly did not want to cancel this stream twice in a row. I don't know, maybe Mahou Sky no Yoro is just a cursed game for me. Like, whenever I have it scheduled for a stream, my head is like, nah. So, yeah. But fuck that, I'm streaming it today. I don't care, dude. So, yeah, already apologies in advance if I sound a bit tired or, you know, maybe mess up my words here and there because, you know, I had to take some good meds to, you know, get rid of the pain and whatnot. And some of that might, you know, affect my thinking ability here and there. But mostly I'm still fine, you know. Should be good to go for today's stream. And of course, if needed, I'll just, you know, do a shorter stream or something. But I at least wanted to do a little bit of streaming today. Like, God, dude, this, I really want to play this game. I want to read it. So yeah, even if my body seems to disagree. So that's the plan for today. Now tomorrow is going to be a bit crazier, because tomorrow we're finally going to do the Lethal Company sub reward thingy. The goal that was met like, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago or something like that. So it's about time. So yeah, that's going to be fun, huh? Maybe not so much for me, but maybe for you guys at least. So, you know, I aim to please. Oh my god, it's one of the singing ones. Wow, it's really stretching those notes, huh? Okay, that is amusing. I'm mostly fine, yeah. There's a bit of mental damage from yesterday, some wallet damage from yesterday, and then, you know, some physical damage from today. But hey, I'm still kicking, dude. I'm still going, you know. Sometimes you just gotta push through shit, and that's all there is to it, you know. Anyway, second, thank you for gifting Gento a sub, much appreciated. Hey, welcome back to the Cow Gang. Did I get Alk from the daily singles yet? No, I did not. I forgot if I did the one for today anyway, but yeah, no, I still haven't gotten MP5. Don't expect to either, but you know, I'm still trying at least with those buttons, I guess. Anyway, speaking of alcohol, let's read some more Mahou Yoru, shall we? Still very early on though, so who knows what's gonna happen. Right, alright, okay. Woo! We back. So let's just press continue. Oh, little happening of last night. Oh yeah, we were gonna like there's these like interlude thingies that you get like at between chapters or something. We were gonna read that next, I think, before the next chapter, or I guess they call them episodes. But yeah, let's see here. Just like this archive thing. Yeah, we have these 4 new books here, so we should probably check these before we continue on with the chapter selection. Sure thing, Daryl. So we got 7 Days of Spinning, volumes 1 to 4. See what this is all about. maybe some backstory. Okay. Morning in the city moved incredibly fast. It made one wonder if it was even a morning at all, with people so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. There's a term for you. Bushy-tailed. The unfamiliar roar that awoke him reminded him of a rock slide. The identity of the monstrous sound that was the engine of a motorcycle. Mr. Yoshida, his neighbor, was leaving for work. It was hard to determine when night ended and morning began here. The town's urbanization was synonymous with insomnia. So yeah, we also learned that, you know, their city, is it Misaki? Yeah, Misaki is like, not long ago, it was like, you know, it was modernized a lot, right? You know, a lot of construction and whatnot, so I assume this goes back to that time. It's like a flashback or something. He sluggishly lifted himself off the floor. He caught himself starting to survey his surroundings out of habit before deciding better off it, and made his way to the washroom. Yeah, this is new music as well, I think. Very cool. There he poured himself a cup of water and slowly gulped it down. Having been relegated to well water until recently, he found the convenience pleasing. Pleased was definitely the word that best described how he felt. Civilization is about erasing inconveniences through optimization, the reduction of labor in our daily lives. Mr. Koga had taught him that while the essentials were easier than ever to get our hands on, life itself was growing more and more complex. Hello, funny, how you doing? So too was it his duty to adjust to his new reality. The backgrounds look really good. As a distant relative of Sojiro's father, Mr. Koga had taken Sojiro in, even though the boy had been little more than a stranger in his life till that point. Mr. Koga had helped him get registered at school and find an apartment to lease. Is this like a Kiritsugu situation again? That would be funny. Though he had insisted that Sojiro handle his residence card and register his change of address by himself. This series of procedures proved exceedingly difficult for Sojiro, but knowing that this was a part of his new city life, he did his best to complete them diligently. While they may have a reputation for being a stickler for the rules, city offices aren't all that bad. It was the first thing he learned after beginning his life in the city. 2 weeks had elapsed since he left the countryside. As uneasy as living alone made him feel, he felt he could make it work. It was not as if the people here spoke another language, and Mr. Koga was absolutely right about how practical the rules of the city were. He continued down the hard but surprisingly walkable path. Before work, he jogged in the park to pass the time. Even exercise like this offered lessons for him to learn. Each passing person was a new face to look at. The old man who greeted him, the young worker with his eyes on the ground, and the girl on the bench, surrounded by birds. Well, that sounds like someone I might know. They were all unfamiliar sights to Sojiro. Unaccustomed to the city, he labored to understand its rules. Whether they were complex, simple, or completely meaningless. Compared to mountain life, which only dealt with nature, city life felt one with way too many options. One could argue that such an environment was toxic for him. Boo. His life was a string of unsettling moments, but amongst it all, there were rules that he sincerely admired. For one, that the city revolved around various forms of profits and loss. The fact that one only needed money to get the bare essentials to survive the city was a comforting thought to him. The music's gone. Oh no. Damn, look at that city landscape. Nice part-time job time. Also, hello. Co-worker, I assume. Hinomi. Whoa.
金なんてものはあくまで記号で、本当に大事なのは別にあんだからさ。所詮は流動する肩たたき券と変わんねっつが、 別に1万円札食ってもうまくねえっつうが。ともかく金で真心は買えねえじゃん。
Well. Do you think I should maybe use the FGO overlay for this? Maybe I should, because sometimes, I mean, it's not a problem if I read the text, even if some of it is blocked by the UI, like the camera and whatnot, but if there's character voice, then it might be a problem. Because you guys probably can't, you know, read, or listen to Japanese that well. Also, is that a bot I see in the chat? Interesting. Yeah, maybe I'll use the FGO overlay instead. Let's see here. Let me fix it to fit the screen a little bit better. Would be nice to see the full text after all. Let's see here. There we go. That's way better, right? It's a bit smaller, of course, but you can still see everything, right? And now you can see all the text too, so look at that. Yeah, I think this is what I did with Stay Night as well, now that I think about it, whenever we played or read through that, so yeah, makes sense, I think. Okay.
じゃねえよ、ざけんなよ。俺は悲しいよ。ついこの間まで4000ポッチの日当に鹿みたいに首かしげていた正直者がくだらねえ皿洗いをしながら、まあ世の中金だよねなんてボソッと言わないでくれっつな。
Wow.
いや、貨幣制度は素晴らしいと思う。正直物々交換の限界を感じた。
Yeah, he probably has never worked a job like this before this as well.
それより木の実、ふざけてるとそれ落とすぞ。
え？ってうおー、やべやべ、次割ったら今度こそ俺の頭が割られちまうからな。忠告サンキュー。それで相談事？何？もしかして金？
そうなんだ。とりあえずお金は大事で、たくさんあるに越したことはないって痛感した。なんで、できればもうちょっと働きたい。
There's a motto for you. Better to have more money than less. Factual.
マジ？マシンみたいに皿洗いをこなしながら夢のないこと言わないでほしいな。世の中金じゃねえって言ったばかりじゃんか。やっぱラブじゃんか。ところで水冷たくないですかね。
So they're basically just kitchen helpers, right? They don't seem to be chefs or like the people that make the food. They seem to be probably like, you know, delivering stuff to the tables, washing dishes and all that jazz. So probably working close to minimum wage, if not that, if I had to guess.
そりゃ冷たいけど。
But it's probably part-time jobs for high schoolers anyway, so it probably makes sense.
氷水と同じにすんな野生児め。しかしあれだね、呆れた順能力、いや忍耐力つうの、レジ打ちすらできなかった新人がよ、たった4日でしみったれた飯屋の社畜になっちまうなんて。
The
やっぱ世の
man.
中金ってことかね。資本主義ってすげえ。
Well, so he tried to register, but it wasn't really working out.
うるせえぞバカバイト。文句あんならやめちまえ。
Damn, the boss ain't, you know, taking shit from anyone.
うちにはごくつぶしにくれてやる小遣いはねえ。
The complaints and chopsticks flew at them like a storm. This best of a Chinese restaurant manager was a stubborn man who was willing to let minors work for him and didn't shy from violence, even if it was directed at the son of a lifelong friend. Wow, yeah. Truly not taking shit from anyone. Sojiro felt that this is what Sparta must have been like. Leave it to Nasu to, you know, put, you know, Greek, like Greek mythology references everywhere.
ほら怒られた。任されたことはきちんとやらないと。
He really likes European mythos, huh?
け、優等生。こっちは何かと反抗したい年頃だっつうの。まあいいや、話は変わるんだけどよ。しずき夜に出歩くタイプ？それかチャリンコで出張る趣味？いやまあどっちかでいいんだけど。
バイトの帰りはほとんど夜になるけど、そういう話じゃないんだよな。夜の散歩も遠出も趣味じゃないけど。
Hey man, how you doing?
いや何さ、しずき引っ越してきたばかりだって言うからよ。 俺らが言うのもなんだけど、う
Has
ち
a funny
ちょい
face.
治安が悪いっての？柄が悪いわけじゃねえんだけどな。
Hmm. Town is
年間10人
dangerous?
ぐらい通り魔事件っての？そういうの起きてっから。
10 attacks like a slasher film every year? That's a high number.
通り魔ってなんだ？
そっからかよ。なんだ、ほら、カバン強盗でもないか。辻斬りってのが近いのか。住宅街とかまだ森が残ってる方によく出やがるんだよ。そういうおかしいのが。
Ghost stories.
なんで、あんまり夜遅くは出歩くなよな。三崎岡の公園とか有名な怪奇スポットだから。
So park is bad. I think Alco and Alice were talking about the park too, actually. Connection? Question mark?
通り魔の犯人は口裂け女だったって話知らねえか？
ごめん。まずその口裂け女ってのがわからない。
Hmm.
階段だよ。口が耳まで裂けてるってやつ。今じゃさすがに時代遅れだけどよ。なんだっけ？深夜の道にな、コート姿の女が待ち伏せていて、私、綺麗とか聞いてくるんだよ。
Nice impression, dude.
で、綺麗って言っても、いまいちって言っても家まで追っかけ
Dude, these are some classic Japanese horror creepypastas right here. Like, I remember some like early internet era memes as well. Like people made like flash stuff and whatnot with this shit.
女の少年はおっかねえっつうか、アメコミの怪人っぽいっつうか。
いや、それ本気で怖くないか？家まで上がってくるのか？その女の人。
窓から入ってくるらしいぜ。ガサガサとこうゴキブリみたい。ギャ
のクソガキが厨房でその4文字は禁止だってんだろ。殺すぞ。
Yeah, true. You probably don't want to talk about cockroaches when you're working in a kitchen, you know? Someone might overhear and get the wrong idea. The back of Kidobi's head exploded in pain with the impact of his boss's frying pan. Sojiro was reminded of just how dangerous this town could be.
殺すってバカじゃねえの？
Whoa.
普通そっちの方が禁止用語じゃねえの？ここレストランなんだしさ。いや、あんまうまくねえけど。
ひなみ、頭大丈夫か？
え？ああ、うん。心配無用。俺なんだか頑丈さには定評があるから。特に頭部について。ともかく、そういうわけなんで夜の暗がりは気をつけるぞな、もし。しずき、見るからにカモそうな顔してるし。
ありがとう。ところで、年間10人というのは多い方なのか？
For Japan, that sounds like crazy high.
知んねえよ。少なくはないだろうけど、多い方でもないんじゃねえか。ま、うちの通り魔事件が他に比べて厄介なのは、まだ犯人が見つかってないってことだからね。
He laughed cheerfully. Kinomi was probably trying to take the edge off of his story, but the noble intention of his laugh was completely lost on Sojiro. His friendly warning was equally futile. Sojiro was simply impressed that Kinomi was able to laugh it off. Well. Oh, it's the dark now. On the way home, nobody ahead or behind, Sojiro proceeded through the dimly lit street when suddenly... Was that the light? Like the light bulb breaking? He turned to face an improbable sound. Oh. Oh. Something stabbed him in the head and fell to the floor. He frowned. A small bird had apparently flown into the telephone pole before landing on his head. Whoa. The starling cleaned itself off and flew away. The falling of the bird, and its desperate escape thereafter, was unlike anything he had experienced in his life up to now. Most of the townsfolk would have seen the incident as unlucky, ominous, or even sinister, but he just nodded and went about his business. You must understand, what might have been a first for him was surely an everyday occurrence for these city folk. Well, there was more Sojiro backstory. Anyway, Volume 2. Let's keep going. Oh, that's a nice Twilight Sky.
たったいまー。ねえ、アリス帰ってる？
Alright, back to the girls.
教会から帰るとき、商店街でお土産もらっちゃった。伊勢屋のせんべい、一緒に食べない？
I assume all of these are flashbacks. To some extent. Her voice reverberated through the foyer, dyed in the colors of the setting sun. It was after 5 in the afternoon, and when Aoko, still in her school uniform, cheerfully returned home. She had finished her student council duties and attended her monthly meeting with the church. Church, huh? That's a thing in the Nasu verse.
その様子なら何事もなく終わったみたいね、青子。
The voice was coming from the second floor. In contrast with Aoko and her boundless energy, a considerably calmer girl descended from above.
難癖はつけられたけど滞りなく。うちの問題はうちの問題だから、今回も手は出さないって方向でまとまったわ。それでいいのよね、アリス。
ええ。猫の手なら借りたいけど、あの人たちの手は信用ならないし。いつも通り、後処理だけお願いしましょう。
賛成。後ろからバッサリやられかねないしね。だいたい、私もあんたも背中を気にして没頭できるからじゃないし。
Always talking about whatever they're doing, like very vaguely, because, you know, I assume there's gonna be like reveals as we go on, but yeah, very vague stuff.
私はできるけど。青子は単に、まだそれほどの余裕がないだけでしょ。
With the graceful sounds of her steps, Alice entered the foyer. As she did, Aoko's eyes were directed toward the skylight above.
ガラス、曇ってるわね。
そのことで話があるわ。今日の課題が。
Dude, I would not be able to watch that. How the fuck do you do that? I have such a fear of heights. I would never be able to watch that, like a, you know, skylight.
青子、体の調子は？疲れているなら休みを入れてもいいけど。
え？何よ、気味悪いな。気遣いされることなんてないってば。いつも通りの一日だったし。そんな疲れた顔してる？私。
Whoa. As school activities went, today's were a breeze. At a glance, her school life might have seemed almost idyllic. Though the more she thought about it, some headache-inducing incidents may have stood out here and there. So maybe this is like a recent flashback. Because, you know, it's like his silhouette. Wow. And with some sincere introspection, Aoko might have recognized the signs of her own mental fatigue, but doing so would have further added to her stress.
ストップ。なんで帰ってきてまであんなのことで疲れなくちゃいけないんだ、私。今日の課題って初歩のウィッシュでしょ？問題ないわ。すぐ始めましょう。今日はなんか勢いでうまくいきそうな気もするし。
She focused on shedding her anger and stress, and headed upstairs with gusto.
どうしたのよ？アリスの部屋でやるんじゃないの？
The formally dressed Alice nodded in slight dissatisfaction.
それで、伊勢屋のせんべいって今日の？
Dude, that face does not match that voice at all. But it's kind of cute though. Bro. Like, what is that? She looked at the freshly baked treats Aoko was holding. She's like, oh, rice crackers. She really wants them, dude. Well, okay, nighttime. In the end, their lesson took place after Alice had her cup of tea. For an apprentice like Aoko, Alice Kuonji was the kind of roommate and teacher that was hard to come by. If she insisted that Aoko rest to preserve her health, she had no choice but to comply. The lesson was over after 2 hours, so the two finished the dinner they had prepared and decided on a change of venue for where they would spend their last hours of the day. Wow, that looks nice. The sunroom was next to the drawing room in the east wing of the residence and offered a view of the beautiful grounds. The proud Kuonji estate's luxurious sunroom featured furnishings on par with those in the splendid drawing room. Meanwhile,
来年の夏はジャングルね、この分だと。
imagine taking care of this freaking yard, dude. The grounds outside had fallen into disrepair, neglected by the owner.
ねえアリス、庭掃除専用のプロイとかいないの？
Alko took a step into the sunroom and poured some tea.
探せばいるかもしれないけど、少し手間ね。
Playing along with her roommate's joke, Alice made to sit in her chair. Ooh. Just as she caught sight of the box of chocolates on the table, her lonely eyes narrowed in the frown. What are those, like Dragon Ball chocolates? The hell is that? Look at that. They look like chocolate Dragon Balls. Do any of them go higher than 7? Sus? Like, look, what the hell, dude? That's funny.
何よ、言っとくけど、今日の失敗は半分アリスのせいよ。おせんべいで気が緩んだのが敗因っていうか、そりゃウィッシュのつもりがガンドになっちゃったのは我ながら攻撃的すぎると思うけど。
Whoa, spell names? Oh! Shout out to Rin.
6個減ってるわ。
なんだ、そっちのことか。
Algo's eyes stared intently at the box of chocolates. You could search the world and never find a finer selection of chocolates. The brand new sixpence songs, apparently. Oh, they only go up to 6, I guess. Copyright avoided.
で、鏡の話をするんだっけ？あれ、今洋館モードから岬モードになってるんでしょ？
Mirror?
ええ。ここの管理はおざなりになるけど、岬市だけに切り替えたわ。それが昨日から曇り出している。
Well, that sounds weird.
少しずつだけど、確実に包囲されてるわね。
包囲って数が増えたってこと？
捕捉していた1名はもちろん、他にもう2名ほど不審者を目撃済み。都市部に1、郊外の森に
I wonder who they're talking about. Those things.
はあ、あんたの目撃談は当てになるからな。で、うるさいのはどっち？
森の方。捕捉中だけど、こっちの目に気づいているみたい。なかなか誘いに乗ってこないわ。
そっか。じゃあ今夜仕掛ける？
Whoa. To go after it tonight. One simple suggestion that would change the course of her life forever. It was no overstatement to say that this was a roll of the dice that would decide whether she had the moxie to survive the experience of jumping out of a plane with a torn parachute. Alko swallowed her hesitation and fear with a little tea. On the school's anniversary night, she declared that she had made up her mind, and from that time on, she would not waver. Alice welcomed her roommate's strength with the barest hint of regret. As someone who shared the same motivations as her, Alice was ultimately reassured by Alko's resolve. Perhaps more pleased than reassured. All in all, it had taken the better part of a year, but finally Alko had stepped out of Alice's shadow. The two partners now shared the same fate. Alko was not the partner Alice had asked for, but a partner nonetheless. Strangers, worlds apart. And even if eventually they would battle each other to the death using all they had inherited, it was only right they did it on equal terms. Well, that's not ominous at all. Okay. It was, at least for now, a cause for celebration over how far Alko had come.
せっかくだけど、今夜は私一人で十分よ。そんな余裕があるのなら、あなたはもう少し暗示の練習をするべきね。公園はあなたの担当だから。
There's the park mention again. So wait, is the screen a bit scuffed? It's not fully visible, is it? I just realized. Fuck, dude. Okay, there we go. It was a bit... Oh, okay. Well, at least you still saw all the text, but yeah, okay. I just realized it was a bit scuffed. Okay, now it's better. Fuck, dude. I should have checked where the window crop was anyway. Just in case. Well, now it should be good. Okay. Alice did not so much as look at Alco as she explained her reasons. The scale of the enemy she would face that night. Her plans for Alco. For in only 2 days from now, Alco Aozaki would be reborn.
はいはい、わかりました。
Alco finished her tea and stood up from her seat.
お言葉通り、暗示の練習でもやってるわ。一節目は確か、軽く弱く、うまく早く、チクタクチクタク、急げや急げ、よね。
No. Sounds funny.
そこは軽く弱くうまく早く急げや急げチクタクチクタクよ。
Yeah, it sounds way more like fluid in Japanese because, you know, they kind of rhyme anyway. In English, I guess they chose to do the literal translation so people at least get the meaning, but it doesn't flow as nice in English as it does in Japanese, sadly. I've seen almost everything. I haven't seen some of the final stuffs, like I think they're bonus stuffs, but again, I think they're also sequels. But I've seen like the quote-unquote main stuff.
気をつけなさい。それだと逆に落ち着かなくなるわ。
そうだったそうだった。じゃ、一つ失礼。
Alco grabbed a piece of chocolate and popped it in her mouth. She waved before leaving Alice alone in silence. Alice stiffened a moment before slamming the box of chocolate shut as if it could serve to scold Alco for snacking. Whoa. I'd like some box of those chocolates as well. Alright, volume 3. Damn, these are pretty long interludes, but they're kind of cool though. Also, that CG is not ominous at all. Oh. It's a nice moon. The clock goes tick-tock. This is the demo part? Oh, really now? That's interesting. Well, what the hell? I mean, okay. Whoa. Oh, that's an eye. Did it just twitch or something? Oh my god, it's moving. Oh. Oh, it's looking directly at me.
周囲の地形をスキャンします。大気成分、窒素異常なし、酸素異常なし、アルゴン異常なし、二酸化炭素異常なし、第5仮説要素、異常、異常、異常、あり。周囲の時空連続体に齟齬を確認。
Space-time discrepancy.
第一種危険物との遭遇と断定。視覚領域を主観から客観に変更。自立回路を予備電源に。計測回路を主電源に変更。カメラを赤外線計測から虚数線計測に変更。では、これより戦闘行為の記述を開始します。主よ、どうか我が身を守りたまえ。
Oh, it's a chant. Whoa. Misaki City was a thickly wooded area. Urban development continued unabated, but Mother Nature still drew breath in its outskirts. Wise old trees had been turned to lumber. The leaves had begun to turn to mulch. Even though the birds who curiously tilted their heads had moved on, the verdure lived on, a testament to its enduring strength. Until the time that the devouring light of civilization became powerful enough to encroach upon nature's mysterious domain. These woods were no exception. The outlying border between Misaki City and Misaki Hills had been left untouched. Though driven from their nests and dens here, wildlife continued to subsist even today. No longer able to return to days before man, this was just like any other forest situated next to a town. Okay. I assume that's Alice singing. That's kind of creepy though. Winter had arrived in the woods. The chill cut like a razor, the icy air so thick it could reach one's bones. Exposed cheeks stiffened and wisps of breath formed swirls in the air before disappearing. I mean, that's just like winter here too. It was 1 degree above freezing. The cold snap penetrated every nook and cranny of the woods, from the ground to the trees to the wildlife. Damn, she's doing it in English. Yeah, exactly, Defty. The forest allowed nobody entry during the day. During the winter, it willed the animals to slumber. The still evening air felt like the stagnant breath of the lingering dead. The forest consumed the moonlight, obscuring the sight of even the closest of precipices, and hastening the untimely doom of any soul unfortunate enough to become lost within. And this is very poetic, dude. The only noises to be heard were the whispering of the wind and the murmurings of the stream. The immortal darkness stifled any sense of life. Not the breath of an animal, much less that of a person, was drawn in this place. However, a figure in black, not of this place, skulked within. It cast the tiniest, frailest of silhouettes, like a small boat lost in the sea of fog. Its trepidatious footsteps echoed through the woods. There, exiting the veil of trees, was the unmistakable likeness of a young girl. You can see her silhouette there. Okay.
来たぞ来たぞいるぞいるぞ
Whoa.
誰が誰が誰と誰がお腹は減ったのお腹は鳴ったさどっちが食べるどっちも食べる君は左手お前は右手歓迎しないと感激しないと何しろようやく楽しいお客ついでにお腹と脛骨もせっかくだからよく噛まないと
Okay. The shadows in the trees laughed ominously. A hallucination, an illusion, or perhaps something real. The shadows frolicked in time to the girl's pace.
さあさあさあさあもっと奥へもっと奥へところでダイスは細工済みお腹の重いローデット端っこかじったエッジワークどうでもいいけど肝心要の6の目だけは出さないように
The girl knitted her eyebrows. She heard voices and felt the presence of things that should not be. Scary enough to frighten this particular girl, as if her tightly pursed lips betrayed not a hint of fear. The girl walked of her own volition. If she had truly felt fear, her legs would be frozen. Deep within the trees, she was perfectly aware of the two humanoid figures stalking her through the still night air.
見たぞ見たぞ来るぞ来るぞもう諦めろもう帰れないあんなに教えてあげたのによそに消えないお前が悪い
The girl halted her steps. The racket from the accompanying voices died in turn. The babbling brook suddenly sounded like a crackling fire. And then, across the shallow stream, something appeared that should not exist in the city, much less these woods. Oh, it's a scary smile he was talking about.
こんばんは。話のわかる人はいる？
Oh, I guess she was here to talk to them anyway, or kinda. The girl addressed them calmly. These men with their Glasgow grins creeped towards her like two slugs.
そう。ただの墓守り。監視だけが仕事なのね。
Oh, analyzing the situation, huh?
失敗したわ。これなら青子に任せればよかった。ああ。けど。
The one grinning man stood still. The other, shaking violently as if unable to contain himself any longer, turned toward the girl.
青子にはまだ荷が重いわね。そんな姿だけど、あなたたちは一人前の魔術師のようだし。
Oh, terms. Oh, it's the thing. Her black outfit stirred. In her right hand she held a vitreous cat, darker than the deepest night. Ooh. The two Glasgow men let out a yelp of caution and incoherent fear. It was at this moment that they had finally bared their intent and emotion.
さようなら、お客様。きっと一瞬だろうから。お別れだけ言っておくわ。
Oh. The two shuddered at her words. They had no mouths, nor ears, or brains to begin with. For creatures like these, words were redundant. All that existed was the present. For these soulless creatures, fears and hopes were nothing more than an unimaginable future. Then what could be this feeling of foreboding they felt? The spine-chilling miracle that would rip them to pieces not moments from now.
さあ、ごっこ遊びをしましょう。お人形。
Oh shit, dude. Her song sounded like a bell echoing through the white woods. The girl's voice vanquished the frost that had gripped the trees. Then... Ooh!
いやいや、ずいぶん待たされた。さあ、赤ずきんの登場だ。
Wow, so they were the ones talking. Also, I remember these are the things in the 4-star EXP CE in the event as well, I noticed. So, yeah, there they are. Whatever these things are. The curtains opened on Diddle Diddle, the banquet of the night. In confusion, one slit-mouthed man swooped toward the girl. You go Diddle Diddle, that's funny. In fear, the other fled into the woods behind him. Whoa. Ooh, I like the dynamic animation. The deformed humanoid darted forth, kicking up water as it rushed the girl. She already knew what this fiend was. The grinning figure had scissors for hands and a demon's heart. Sounds like Mephisto or something. It was a wretch who kidnapped children, mercilessly rendering them into pieces.
トゥイードル。
お任せお任せ。ようやく出番だ。あらよった。
Oh. The piglets bounded and rebounded like paddle balls. The stuffed animals, over 3 feet in length, jumped and weaved their way between the trees. Oh. Even with these strange creatures before him, the grinning man did not so much as blink. He raised his arms, but what emerged from his coat sleeves were not the human appendages you would expect. In their place, fiendish cleavers, more than 1.5 feet in length. These appendages, which had torn so much of their prey to pieces, sliced cleanly through the flying pigs' skulls. His limbs froze in place. The pigs' bodies were sliced perfectly in half. And then... bisected from head to tail, the pigs' innards became as alligator jaws and clamped down upon the grinning man's arms. From fingertips to shoulders, they were swallowed whole. It was all it took to rob the man of control over his entire body. Oh, the eyes behind the smile. Another shiver of fear. These were no mere pig familiars. Immediately he realized that these were stapler monsters disguised as mere pigs.
捕まえたのはダムでした。捕まえたのは D だってば。ああ、でも残念。ご主人様は無口で無情で無関心。結局どっちの手柄も同じこと。
Round the bridge is broken down, broken down, broken down.
There's some familiar lyrics. Impossible, its presence murmured 3 times. Not possible, not possible, not possible? Talking pigs were one thing. Even having one's arms chopped off was in the realm of occupational hazard. In an instant, the wood was enveloped in a dense wave of magical energy. Though vexing, it was still impressive. None of these facts were particularly extraordinary. These rare familiars, their bizarre attack, the sheer innate magical energy to overwhelm others. He had experience with all of these things. His employer was skilled enough to achieve all of this as well. However,
どうするどうする？いつまで放置？手足一本、瞬きだって贅沢だ。お支払いは面倒でも、できればポンドでお願いします。
what were they? Not vessels, not living creatures, not beings powered by magic circuits. Ooh. Even though his arms had been bitten, none of his body would move. It was nothing like being bound or weakened. This felt more like he had become words written in a book, fated to keep to their page. As the grinning figure's deformities indicated, he had overcome numerous curiosities and monstrosities. Illusions, enthrallment, compulsions, freezings, putrefactions, and even petrifications, a power granted to only the pinnacle of mystic eyes. From poisons to magecraft, he had weathered a great deal. But this was something different altogether. The penalty that bound him now was based on different principles from blood, flesh, oxygen, or heat. It was an unknown restraint that followed no rules he knew. He's gonna get like booked. Indeed, though it was terrifying to admit, it was as if he'd encountered something alien to everything in this world. Fangs sank into his left and right shoulders. For the first time in this form, he felt rage seethe up inside him. The basis of all things he had to be absolute. All mystics, all things bizarre, obeyed some set of laws. But these pigs ignored this, along with his dignity.
さあ、3日で衰弱。6日で溺死。半年経てば惨めな骸骨。でもご無礼。面倒だから今殺そうか。
Oh shit. A howl. Though he had no voice, he let out an exasperated scream.
なんて便利。自分の腕を外せる機構。おお、お前こそ三国一のものだふよ。
The talkative pigs fell into the stream. That exasperated scream was the sound of the figure tearing his arms from their sockets. Armless, he rushed the girl.
役立たず。後でお仕置きが必要ね。
Now, so Guts basically activated. He's going for his last attack or something. Oh. He may have lost his mangled arms, but not the object of his malice. A mystic eye to pierce the heart of its victim. A magic circuit designed to stop a beating heart. It was beautiful in its simplicity. At point-blank range, it was the equivalent of an unavoidable shotgun blast. Wow, they did nothing to her. But tragically, that eye was all he had.
Build up with wood and clay, wood and clay, wood and clay. Build up with wood and clay, my fair lady.
He failed to realize that her song had changed. Oh shit. So wait, this is her extra attack, I think, in Ascension 1 and 2. I remember something like this. For the giant, the earth-shattering strike was akin to the act of shooing away an insect. Its green verdant veins pulsed. Oaken bark covered its body, hardened sufficiently over centuries to repel even a chainsaw. On its forehead, inscribed in all manner of colors, was the word Emeth, though judging from its misspelling, the inscription was purely decorative. Holy dude. Big dude. The Thames Troll. Wow. It also went by the moniker Falling Down. So this must be some kind of maybe fairy tale or mythos thing for, you know, English stuff. I'm not very familiar with this. The name is a little familiar, but yeah, I don't know. Or alternatively, the Great Bridge. Admired in different forms, it was the first of 4 miracles.
テムズ、もう一体お願い。
The giant responded to the girl's words. With roots rent deep into the earth, it raised its left arm to the heavens without moving a step. Oh, did you just get squished? Elsewhere in the forest, the grinning figure who had chosen to flee the battle was running through the night forest at full speed. Record and provide a detailed description of the enemy. Those were the orders assigned to him. He poured all of his energy into escaping the forest which he had become so familiar. In case of emergency, the plan was for one to challenge the enemy while the other made a tactical retreat in order to report to their master. He dashed through the forest. Though gripped by fear, he was confident in his ability to perform the mission he was designed for. Nothing could catch him in these woods. Even the wolves could not track him. His bird-like legs thumped as they kicked the ground. Perhaps it was his creator's eccentric taste that dictated their form when optimizing them for running. The grinning man could reach a maximum speed of 45 miles per hour.
London Bridge is falling down, falling down, falling down. London Bridge is falling down, my fair lady.
Yeah. Damn, that's a fast one though. Well past the limit of any bipedal creature. After securing a distance of several miles, he turned around to confirm his safety. There was no sign of pursuit. His crescent-shaped mouth, nay, eye, slackened in relief. And then, after facing forward once more, he looked up to lock eyes with his doom.
London Bridge is broken.
Uh-oh.
Broken down, broken down.
Was that in kilometers per hour? It's probably like around 50. It's somewhere between 40 and 50 for sure. That is a scary thing to hear though. In the distance, he could hear the dark rhymes of Mother Goose. Countless vines extended from the ground. They formed into a monstrosity that conjured up images of an arched bridge, something resembling a giant arm. Oh, was it 45? Oh wait, I did the thing the wrong order. I thought, okay, yeah, it was miles and not kilometers. Yeah, I went the wrong way, but yeah, it would be more kilometers per hour. Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I was just expecting it to be kilometers because it's a Japanese game, but I guess yeah, they just localized it. That makes sense. Okay. Well. Well.
解析は困難。転送は困難。状況を終了します。はあ。主よ、どうかこの身を守り。
Damn. Fast he may be, he still didn't get away. Well, that was pretty scary.
済んだよね。お疲れ様。戻ってテムズ。次はもっと高価な場所ならいいのだけど。
So she wanted to meet their boss immediately or something, but these were just basically scouts. That's what happened. Well, the girl turned on her heel. The invaders who had set up shop in the woods were eliminated. She had no interest in whether they had been good or evil, nor how many victims they had claimed. The shackles of civic society held no sway over her. This was the way of pure-blooded witch, the way of a Mynster. I think this word was mentioned in the when I previously played too.
僕たちは？ねえ、僕たちは？この腕抜けないんだけど。
Well, that's a bit morbid.
噛んだままだと僕らも動けないっていうかさ。ひどい。飛べない豚に用はないと。次はお役に立ちます、きっと。生まれてこの方、失敗続きの僕らだけど。壊れるまでに一度くらいは褒められたいね。
The girl let out a sigh and stepped into the stream. She removed her gloves and dipped her slender fingers into the ice water.
6の目は出すなって言うけど。6の目しか出ないようになってるわよね、あなたたち。
There was no response to her melancholy tone. In place of one boisterous pigs were 2 black dice, now sitting in the palm of her hand. As the girl was about to say something to the scattered remains around her, she realized something that made her put a hand to her mouth.
お別れは済ませていたわね。目ぐらいは聞いておくべきだったかしら。
They've mentioned Mynsters in FGO as well. Yeah, maybe. There's been so much terminology that, yeah, I definitely don't remember everything, but you might be right. Her slender, pale fingers traced her lips as if reluctant to part from them. Sighing again, she calmly left the dark woods the same way she had entered. Wow. Wow. Well, that was a interlude and a half. So yeah, she can fight. Anyway, so we still got one more of these interludes. 7 Days of Spinning Volume 4. Let us rewind to a moment in the recent past. The scene took place on a Saturday morning in early December. It's the school. With third period over just before lunch, the only activity that remained before the scholastic day ended was homeroom. 2 of Class C students, Sojuro Shizuki and Hosuke Kinomi, were standing outside on the balcony overlooking the schoolyard. They were stuck waiting for their homeroom teacher, Mr. Kazuki Yamashiro, and could not leave until he arrived. The rest of their classmates were chatting idly in the classroom. Bro, dude, what the fuck? Dude, look at the dude on the left. His silhouette reminds me of Constantine, and I'm so mad, dude. That looks like Constantine, dude. I'm so mad. Fuck off, dude. Really? It's definitely not him, but look at the silhouette. It's so stupid, dude. Wow. Okay, I see how it is, game. Okay. Yamashiro sounds a White Mountain, right? I don't think so. I don't. There's no way that's Mountain, right? That's probably White Castle, not the, fast food place. But if I had to guess, it's probably White Castle. Okay. Oh wait, I'm stupid. You're okay. You flipped the words around, so it fucked with my head. Okay, so it's Mountain Castle then, probably. Yeah, it's Mountain Castle. Okay. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. It's not... I doubt it's White Mountain. I'm guessing it's gonna be Mountain Castle. Because Shiro is usually castle in family names. I mean, I would need to see the writing, of course. But, Yamashiro. Yeah, that's Mountain Castle. If it's spelled like that, that's the kanji for castle, like I thought. Okay. So yeah, usually it's castle. But yeah, okay. Anyway. Class Ace Tobimaru Tsukiji was killing time alongside them. The listless trio discussed their weekend plans as they leaned on the veranda's railing.
木の実はベアでアルバイトか
Bear? Is that the Chinese restaurant or something else?
バッカ誰が日曜まで働くか
Oh, it's Kinomi. Okay, so that's his. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Oh yeah, I guess his hair would look a bit different because I assume now he's not wearing that hat.
明日はほら B 組の子たちと遊びに行く予定だったんだけどねなんかうちから出られねえ
Hey Leon, how you doing?
それはつまりまた振られたのか
Hmm.
うわ直撃
And there
言いづら
he
い
is.
ことをまっすぐ言うよねしずきくんってば
He's got a pretty wild haircut.
そりゃ毎日てめえのバカ面見てればひよこだって振られるって言葉を覚えるだろうよ
Oh shit.
自滅するのは勝手だけどなくれぐれもその字に変な遊び
There
を
it
するな
is.
よ
There it is, the nickname, dude. First time ever. There it is. Sonoji. What the hell, dude? First time. There it is. Well, so yeah, that's Sojuro's nickname by this guy, I guess. Also, yeah, he looks really smart and serious. Wow. Very slick haircut too. A bit messy, but pretty clean overall.
あそりゃ殿下の方じゃねえの気ぃつけろよしずき築地はマジで腹黒いからよ
Yeah, so he's Tsukiji.
こいつの頭の中はほらあれゴミ捨て場の張り紙あんな感じだからくっきり使えるもんと使えないもん分けてんだよ
He looks like Malfoy. He does look like him a little bit, yeah.
あ
Oh,
あそれは知ってる
can't unsee now. Draco Malfoy.
ところで唐突に思ったんだが飛び丸の中じゃ木の実はどういう扱いなんだ
そうだな粗大ゴミ回収は金でももらわねえと割り合わなくなるんじゃねえか国が無料で回収するのはそろそろおしまいってとこ
はあ何言ってんのお前使い古しのタンスとか高く売れるじゃん俺みたいな開封即使用みたいな男がこれからのトレンドなわけでしょほらコンビニで売ってる使い捨てカメラとか大人気だしようやく流行が俺の消費文明に追いついたと
じゃあ木の実はバイトと飛び丸は
来るからねちゃんと俺の時代
俺はちょい仕様だ親父の客が来てるんで接待しなきゃならん街の案内をしてくれとさ
Wow.
聞けよ人の話聞けよあのよ俺は妹の相手してやるだけなんだよ隣のクソ中華飯店の手伝いなんかしねえよ
その字は明日もバイトだ
Why Sonoji though? I have to. It's surely okay. So what's the logic here? Sojuro. I don't get it. I mean, sure, dude. Sonoji.
いやそれが一日空いてる今日はこれから遊園地でアルバイトだけど
それって魔のきついランド
Well,
タフだねしずき
it's for Giga Chat. Yeah, of course.
中央部の連中でも値を上げるって話じゃんか
なんとまさか猫黒の荷物運びより辛い
This is a very similar face than what Alice was doing earlier with the rice crackers. Well. Also, shout out to not FedEx.
しかし山城の野郎おっせえな見ろ隣の B 組すらお帰りになられてるぞ
It's because of how his name is written in kanji, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I forgot how it's written, but yeah, maybe it makes sense based on that. His nickname is chapter character, kinda? Interesting. So how is his like actual given name written then?
だな
I assume it's based on that.
面倒だが呼んでくるかその字を遅刻させるわけにはいかねえし
Hey, Wasted. How you doing? As if by design, the moment Tobimaru Tsukiji stood up warily from the balcony railing, the school's PA system chime rang.
2年 C 組の静木宗十郎くん、山城先生がお呼びです。至急職員室まで来てください。繰り返します。2年 C 組の
An awkward silence fell upon the three. After a long 5 seconds, Sojiro said goodbye and headed back inside. Well, you're definitely asking the wrong guy, Dante, because, you know, I haven't even read most of these stories. But also, we should probably not have this topic because it's probably going to involve a lot of big spoilers, so, yeah. Let's try it out, because, you know, you guys are, you know, if possible. His full name is Sojiro Shizuki. Okay, so that's how it's written. Oh, so it has the chapter character in it anyway, I guess, yeah. Yeah, no spoilers. Kinomi grumbled, slouching his shoulders and succumbing to this lethargy.
他人の妄想力に期待すんなよ。刺激が欲しいならてめえでイベントを起こせ。
No shit. Name
ク
drop.
ラス分け発表の時よろしく。青崎に突っかかればすぐだぜ。
よみがえるトラウマやだよ。会長の大立ち回りは面白いのを通り越して恐ろしいよ。善良な一男子生徒としちゃ美少女が転校してくるだけでいいんだよ。まあ普通の子じゃつまんないからハリウッドのプロデューサーとかイギリスの歌姫とか。
Wow, he's got low standards, clearly.
どんなくくりだそりゃ。そこは火星のお姫様あたりにしとけよ。
Wow.
それと2年 C 組の皆さんへ山城先生から伝言です。山城先生は訳あってホームルームを欠席します。
Oh wow, he's really occupied with the Sonoji then.
しちゃってくださいね。それではでは。以上、放送室からお知らせしました。
どうよこれ。山城新車買ってからフリーダムすぎね。このままではあの真新しいセルビアに俺のギザ銃がうなりかねん。
鍵穴にガム程度にしとけ。教師の発給はマジ同情に値するからな。
The two frenemies returned to the classroom, complaining all the while, their concern for their mutual friends summoned to the faculty office completely out of mind. Uh-oh.
納得いきません。生徒のアルバイトは認められています。
Whoa.
学校公認の職場であるなら社会経験の一環として推奨すると校則にもありますが。
そうなんだけどね。彼の場合やりすぎなのが問題なわけで、仮にもし認可していない労働基準法に反してそうなところで働いてたら困るでしょ。うちも彼も。
The volatile tension between the ruthless student council president and the easygoing modern language teacher permeated the room. Praying to be spared from the impending confrontation, the other teachers hurriedly relocated to the meeting room. By the time Mr. Yamashiro noticed this, the only other person in the room was the student council pres, Aoko Aozaki.
逃げたか。ひどいなみんな。怖いのは僕に押し付けてばっかりだもんな。
話の続きです、先生。仮に彼が指定以外のアルバイトをしているとしたら、それは彼の要求に学校側が応
So
え
is
て
she
いないからではありません
defending Sojiro here? Wow.
下宿先の家賃を奨学金で賄えとは言いませんが、時間の許す限り働きたいという要望は考慮
She's really vouching for him here.
指定外のアルバイトを疑うのなら、まず働き先は1生徒につき1件だけという規則を改めてください。
Yeah, clearly deaf to you. After hearing her out and realizing there was no way she would back down, Mr. Yamashiro hung his head. This was supposed to be easy. The plan was to call in the student rumored to be working multiple jobs, confirm whether the rumor was true, and if so, give him a warning and some guidance, then head to lunch with the knowledge that was all right with the world. The student council pres, who was coincidentally in the faculty room at the time, had heard the entire issue and decided to call out this injustice. As far as Mr. Yamashiro was concerned, she was in the right, and he was well aware of the aforementioned student's situation. Personally, he would have liked to help, but among the faculty he was just a new kid on the block. He wanted to stay on the vice principal's good side and at the very least not lose his job as badly paid as it was.
こればかりはね、副教頭先生直々の注意なんで僕も助けてあげられないんだよ。
それでしたら落としどころがあればいいんですね。
ん？
The student council press removed the document from her bag. It was a document that had been brought up in the morning's faculty meeting, bringing a host of headaches with it.
青崎くん、それは。
はい、愛田協会のボランティア参加の申告書です。今月も希望者ゼロですね。敬虔なクリスチャンである副教頭先生はさぞお気を悪くしているかと。我が校の生徒には新人が足りんと今朝も嘆かれていたとか。
そうだけど、どうして君が今朝の職員会議の内容を知っているか聞きたいよ、本当。
Mr. Yamashiro scratched his head, but his eyes were smiling gleefully. He had figured out the student council president's objective.
魚心あれば水心ありですか。教会への奉仕活動はボランティアだけど、きちんと謝礼が出る。あれも形の上では学校側が推奨する社会見学だからね。副教頭先生は参加者が出たことに喜び、加えて
その参加希望者がすでに他のアルバイトについていた場合、学校側の認可が2つになっちゃいますね。前例にしてはいい落としどころだと思いますが。
Well, Mr. Yamashiro raised his hands in surrender. There were few students able to both raise a complaint and propose a proper solution. Perhaps it was her big sisterly disposition that made this girl so simultaneously feared yet trusted.
よし、その方向で攻めてみよう。うまくいくよう祈ってくれよ。
She big smart.
他力本願は嫌いです。悪巧みに乗ってくれるのならきちんと活躍してください、山城先生。
With a bow, the student council president turned to leave the faculty room.
ああ、待った待った。君も残るんだ。今からしずきくんを呼ぶから、ちゃんと面倒を見てもらわないと。
Is this before the tour or something? The girl's cool eyes narrowed. Unable to process what she had just heard, her expression turned to a scowl.
いや、参加希望者は一人より二人の方がいいだろう。
Hey, hopefully you had a good time, Kurarin.
青崎くんがフォローしてくれるなら僕も安心だしね。
ちょっと先生。
ああ、放送室。2年 C 組のしずき宗十郎くん、至急職員室に来てください。で、放送お願いします。
だから先
生。いやー、これで万全だ。まさか頭痛の種が同時に消え去るなんて、今日はついてる。
Damn, he just shoehorned her into, you know, doing shit for him. Wow, what a guy.
ああ、けど青崎くん、ずいぶん親身になってくれるんだね。何？もしかしてああいうのがタイプ？あ、放送室さん、ついでに生徒会長が心からお待ちしていますと。
Eagerly awaiting, yeah, clearly. She doesn't, you know, she totally doesn't want to leave.
山城
Oh. Well, there you go. So was that before the meeting in the first chapter? I'm guessing. The next day, a pleasant Sunday, Sojiro was awake 2 hours before the time he was supposed to meet her. No. Oh, okay. Is that more far back then? After getting up, he decided to not go for a leisurely jog to clear his mind, but lost among his own thoughts, his 30-minute jog turned into almost an hour. Upon realizing, he rushed home. Or maybe that's later, actually, because she seemed to know who they were talking about. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, chapter 1 was when he was first in the school at all. Okay. And yeah, he already talked, in chapter 1, he talked to her about his part-time job anyway, so that's how she knew. Okay. After thoroughly racking his brain over what to wear for the occasion, he decided upon wearing his school uniform.
午前10時、三崎中央公園の東入り口で待ち合わせ。
Oh. Yesterday in the faculty room, when Aoko had shared the time and place with him that day, she said it with such a pain on her face. Maybe she was fighting a headache at the time. Yeah, I can relate to that shit, dude. Okay.
しかし、青崎の風邪は治っているのだろうか。
Sojiro muttered, his words of concern misguided as they were. In any case, he waited for about 5 minutes. At precisely 10 o'clock, the student council press appeared.
おはよう。いつものことだけど、時間だけはぴったりよね。
Is this new music again? Sounds pretty chill. Ooh, the face is back.
ひどい顔ね。もしかして気分悪いの？
いや、体調はいいと思う。
He waved off her concern.
しかし、青崎は制服だった。
ええ、学校の行事だもの。当然でしょ？
A heavy weight of despondency fell upon his shoulders. The angst over his outfit for the previous 2 hours had been rendered meaningless just like that. Hey Sleepy, how you doing? The duo, clad in their school uniforms on a day off, walked by the train station. In the beginning, Aoko had made efforts to give him a thorough lay of the land, but today she only shared the bare minimum of explanations. This was partly because, surprisingly, Sojiro had become well accustomed to the town, which restaurants were good, which shortcuts to use in a rush, and why the nearby bicycle shop was better than the department store by the station if you wanted to buy a bicycle, things a local would know. But the other reason was that it had dawned on Aoko how the two of them conversing might look to passerby. Uh-oh. Suggestive.
話は変わるけど、具体的にどんな労働内容なのか、そろそろ聞いていいかな。
From here on, volunteering at the church meant that the school would tolerate his multiple jobs. Sojiro had quickly agreed to the tempting offer, nodding like a bobblehead, but as was typical for him, he had failed to consider the content of the proposal.
まあ、そんなことだろうと覚悟はしてたけど。あなた、間教会は初めて？
Church, huh?
教会なら2回目だ。珍しい建物なんで近寄ったら、中の人がただ。
You got free candy from a church? What? Is this normal? He pondered with all sincerity how exactly a church worked. His contemplative posture made him appear the part of a philosopher, but after all his thinking, he concluded, I guess they start taking your money on your second visit? Such was the extent of his concerns.
普通そういうことは子供にしかしないんだけどね、あの教会は。
Well, this is side story stuff. Yeah, this is the final one of the first interludes. She sighed at the lost little lamb.
で、どんな人に会ったの？神父？それともシスター？
それは綺麗な女の人だった。
Beautiful woman in the church, huh? Did she have white hair by chance?
じゃあユイカさんの方ね。
Okay.
今日会ったらお礼をって必要ないか。あんたのことだからそのあたりはきちっとしてるだろうし。
ユイカ？
仕事の話なら簡単よ。学校でやってることと変わらないから。あの教会、規模の割に人数が少ないのよ。
She picked up her pace as they headed for the church. Somehow she seemed like a general invading enemy territory. It made Sojiro furrow his brows in discomfort. Ooh, there it is. Wow. Looks nice. Aida Church had a long history. Far from the station, it was a white-painted sanctuary nestled between the business and residential districts. As far as Aoko could remember, the church, as she knew it, now was the result of remodeling done 8 years prior. It was practically a cathedral for a town of this size. Incidentally, located next to it was the Misaki City General Hospital. From Alco's perspective, it seemed awfully suspicious for the church to take up residence next to the location in the city where the most lives were lost, though the only two who were aware of this opinion were her roommate, Alice Kuonji, and the priest.
青崎はこの教会に縁があるのか？
私はこれっぽっちも。もう過去に戻って改ざんしたいぐらいみじんもないけど。
Oh, wow.
うちの父と祖父は長い付き合い。
Wow, she really dislikes the church now, huh? I wonder what happened.
ここの手伝いなんて、忌々しいことに小学生の頃は毎日してたもんだけど。
The more she spoke, the more twisted her expression became. Recalling this made her want to grab it by the proverbial collar, give it the proverbial one-armed judo back throw, smash its proverbial head into the proverbial ground, and kick the proverbial living daylights out of its defenseless proverbial torso. Holy shit, that's a sentence right there. Yeah, proverbial, right? It's a hard word to say, at least for me. Such was her so-called trauma that if it were anthropomorphized, it would take more than a 5-round beating to satisfy her thirst for vengeance. Okay. It was in this moment, as he became aware of Alco's mood, that Sojiro began to fear for his safety. Yeah, he's gonna catch some strays, collateral damage. Perhaps attracted by the noisy murder of crows outside the church, a woman in a nun's habit emerged from the front entrance. Oh, is it the nice-looking lady? Oh.
どちらのお客様でしょう?
Okay.
当教会は暴力団関係の方はご遠慮いただいておりますので、日を改める、あるいは生き方を悔い改めた後、社会的な罪を償ってから門をくぐっていただきたいのですが。
Wow. She's a bit passive-aggressive from the gate. Probably because of Aoko's history or something, I don't know. Also new music?
青崎青子です。シスターユイカ。ま
あ、青子さんでしたか。驚きました。昼間のうちにあなたが来るのは久しぶり。
Is she blind or did she just ignore her or something?
そうですね。いつもは夜に呼ばれて、神父様とだけお話をしていますから、ユイカさんとは。まあ意外ですね。1年近くまともにお話をしていません。ま、この先だって一度もないでしょうけど。
Mages and churches dislike each other. Yeah, but the way she made it sound like she had a hatred for the church for different reasons, though. Like she was dragged here against her will or something when she was younger. Nothing to... I mean, maybe the magecraft thing helped, but yeah, I mean, so far it seems like a different reason.
あなたも随分と立派になられたようで、がっかりです。何より、今の気配は清らかな少女とは思えないほど悪辣でした。
On the surface, the two exchanged congenial greetings. Unable to read between the lines, all Sojiro could see were the two good friends.
今月のボランティアは私とそこの彼です。親愛なる間協会のためですから。10時から3時まで1分の狂いもなくきっかり働かせていただきますわ。
まあ、世も末ですが歓迎しますね。神の家は万人に等しく開くもの。この際、あなたの内面は見なかったことにしておきましょう。
The nun flashed a smile that was equal parts elegant and cruel. Keeping up appearance aside, she seemed overjoyed to have able hands to put to work. Wow. I'm not gonna lie, the inside looks very similar to another church from a similar work, but okay. The sister introduced herself as Yuika Suse and thanked Sojiro, who had volunteered of his own volition. Sojiro noticed that her eyes were always shut, but not wanting to be rude, especially in front of Alco, he decided not to pry. Maybe she is blind then. It's not just a visual, stylistic choice.
しずきさんとおっしゃるのですね。声のイメージ通り、落ち着いたお名前です。
はあ、それはどうも。
His sister let slip a frown at Sojiro's ambivalent response at her compliment.
失礼。名字で呼ばれるのはお嫌いのようですね。宗十郎さんでよろしいですか？
え？いや、どっちでもいいです。
He don't give a shit.
ではそのように。ほんと、難儀なことですね。
Though the sister's tone was gentle, her words seemed somewhat indifferent. She lacked sight, but she guided the two with certainty in her step.
それで、奉仕の内容ですが。
分かってます。クリスマス前だし、面倒な掃除を済ませておきたいんでしょ？問題ありません。そういうの得意ですから。
It wasn't their strong suit as much as it was Sojiro's.
では、青子さんはかまどの方で聖兵の作り置きを。しずきさんは外に。私どもでは手の届かない箇所の清掃をお願いします。
ちょっと待って。台所にリツカのやついないでしょうね。こんなところであんなのに会うなんてごめんだから。
Ritsuka? Fucking Gurako in the kitchen or something? What the fuck, dude?
リツカは留守です。ですので、どうぞ気兼ねなく。
Wow. With a cold, dismissive wave, Aoko headed toward the door in the back of the worship hall. As she had indicated, she was quite accustomed to this church. So Aoko didn't want to see this Ritsuka girl. Insert your FGO memes right here.
しずきさんはこちらに。まずは物置から清掃道具を運んでいただきます。
Wow. The work entrusted to Sojiro did not require any particular skill. It was window cleaning at its most standard.
窓を全部拭けばいいんですね。
水拭きと空拭き、その後にコートスプレーもお願いします。はしごの高さは足りますか？
Welcome back, Defty.
あれ、ちょっと足りないっぽいですね。
では届く範囲で結構ですので、よろしくお願いします。
After the brief exchange, the sister returned to the church. Sojiro began to wonder if it was out of distrust in him that she was being so curt. He understood that it was too soon to glean an answer from their first meeting, but then again, such answers always eluded him. Left alone but no less encouraged, he began cleaning the windows. The day's weather was a disappointment once again. It had not gone so far as to rain, but was too overcast to enjoy the sun. He leaned against the tall ladder and, beginning with a window about 5 yards from the ground, quietly cleaned. He was never the kind of person to mind physical labor. In fact, if there had been a blue sky, this might have been a perfect day off to him. By the time he finished his third and fourth window, he felt very relaxed and began to whistle. Though 15 feet was intimidating in height, it provided a wonderful view at the same time. Turning toward the town gave him a clear view of the tree-topped hill that had previously caught his eye. A house in the woods in the hill. I wonder whose house that is. Certainly not a house we've seen already. Wow. The hill and the woods just outside of town. From here, the forest overlooking the sleepless city looked like a foreign castle.
あれ？何泥棒さん？
Just then, lost in his thoughts while wiping windows, he was pulled out of his trance by someone pacing below him. He looked down and saw a girl, her unkempt clothes otherwise contrasting with her kind visage.
でもちょっと怪盗には似合わないのんびり屋さん風に。どっちかっていうとあれかしら。暖炉から現れては微妙にいらないおもちゃを押し付けるセイントみたいな。
Wait a minute. Okay, so I don't know who this is, but is this Shizuka Ito? There's no way, right? Holy shit, if that's the case. Please.
うわぁ、私あのヒゲ苦手な。
It is. It is her, totally, right?
合侵入者じゃないあの人。
Bruh, wait, she voices something else besides Luvia? Yo, really? I didn't know this. Yo, she's one of my favorite female VAs in Japanese of all time, dude. Oh my god. Whoa. Okay. She looked to be in her late 20s. Oh my god. Oh, dude, I like the curls on the hair. Okay. Dude, she's like my age. Oh my god. Despite the cold, she was not wearing a coat. She had no purse either, which was rather strange as a woman and her purse were never far apart. Not that Sojiro knew this truth quite yet. Based on the fact that none of this seemed to apply to her, one could have easily surmised that she was herself a little loosey-goosey. Few cards short of a full deck, one might also say.
あ、私ピンときたわ。君、ミサコのバイトの子？偉いわ。今時の高校生は業者さん顔負けなのね。
Well, she looks a little bit like Kafka. Well, the funny thing is Kafka is also voiced by Ito Shizuka. So that's kind of funny, yeah? Should you use Galatea 120 coins to get her extra attack or mana loading? I would probably still take mana loading, honestly, even for, you know, a boss-centric character like her. It's just, it gets the ball rolling faster. This girl looked up in admiration to Sojiro as he stood atop his ladder.
よーし、私も手伝っちゃおうかな。はしごはまだある？他の雑巾は？どうせだからホースで水をかけるのはどうかしら。こうバーッとケルヒャーとか叫びながら。
Oh, she's really into it though.
それなら少しぐらいは楽しくなりそうじゃない？
Well. The girl let out a hearty laugh. Her smile glowed like a cactus that had sprouted legs and begun to run about. Inasmuch as a running cactus could only cause trouble. And so, as Sojiro anticipated, the girl began to clean without waiting for his approval. Well.
いえ、教会の前を通ったら人影っぽいのが窓にへばりついてるのが見えちゃったの。昼間から泥棒とか豪快だなって。
The new Star Rail story is 7 to 8 hours long. Damn. Yeah, I might start streaming it next week.
そしたら可愛い子が真面目に労働してたわけ。窓拭きの達人みたいにビッとかっこよく。そんなの見せられたら手伝いたくなるのが人情じゃない？
Wiping the window next to her or him, the girl continued to chatter cheerfully. Although this was all kinds of sus, Sojiro politely followed her lead, nodding and agreeing as she spoke. Perhaps it was an instinctive camaraderie. He sensed this girl was just like him, always getting the short end of the stick when it came to menial work.
あなたは教会の人なんですか？
私？いえ、ただの通りすがりよ。
I've been to this all stream. I don't know. I just had another migraine this morning. It's really messed up because again, last week I was gonna stream this game on Friday, then I had a migraine shortly before the stream, so I had to cancel the whole thing. And then as I was gonna stream this game today again, I had a migraine immediately after waking up. But I guess the silver lining is that since it happened so early on in the morning, I actually got some rest before the stream, so I could still, you know, kind of do this. I am forcing myself a little bit here. I should maybe rest a little bit more, all things considered, but I would just hate to skip this stream twice in a row, because I do really want to read this visual novel as well at the same time. So, yeah. Silver linings, I guess. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just stressed because I'm having a lot of migraines again or something. Because, you know, between the last week's one and this one, there's only like 5 days or 6 days in between, I guess, which is not good. That's pretty that's bad. So yeah, I've made good progress today so far today. Yeah. I mean, I don't really mind. I don't have to rush through this. I just wanna keep reading it, you know. Is the thing. Okay.
それよりあなたってのは他人行儀ね。君とは商店街で何度も会ってるのに。
Oh, these are the longest interludes besides the ending somehow. Okay. I mean, I didn't mind that these were pretty long, you know? The more the merrier, if you ask me. Oh, it's not gonna be a regular thing? Yeah. I just need to relax a little more or something. However, I may manage to do that, I don't know yet. But I'm gonna try my best, so, yeah.
いや、合ってませんよ。
合ってます。
君魚達さんでバイトしてる子でしょ。今週だけでも何度か行ってるもん。私はそうね、花沢って言うんだけど、
Oh, there you
君
go.
の名前は？
Hanazawa. Is her first name Kana? That would be a meta joke, because you know she voices Alice. Hanazawa took a quick glance at the flower bed below in the middle of her introduction, then gave him a friendly laugh. Sojiro's self-introduction, however, was his usual brand of awkward.
宗十郎さん、いい名前ね。古風な感じで。
So she's definitely the Onesan type, 110%. But you know what? That's kinda nice. What did she think before giving her name? I don't know. Maybe there's something to it, maybe there is not. I don't know yet.
名前に数字が入ってるとなんか日本人って感じがしない？ここの神父さんとかシスターの名前知ってる？エイリとかユイカとか、なんか外国風なんだけど。
I wouldn't say those are that foreign, but yeah, I guess a little bit. Okay.
エイリさんはともかく、ユイカさんは綺麗な黒髪の女の人でしたよ。
Hey Rice, how you doing?
あら、神父さんにはまだ会っていないのね。愛田教会の美形神父と美人姉妹って言ったら有名なんだけど。あ、そうか。さては君、最近引っ越してきたんでしょう。しかも一人暮らしと見たわ。
そうですけど、花沢さんすごいですね。さっきからあまりにも的確な当てずっぽうです。
いえいえ、推理と言ってくれたまえ。君ぐらいの子がアルバイトに精を出すほどこの町の娯楽は魅力的じゃないもの。遊ぶお金ならバイト一件で賄えちゃうわ。君は物欲のあるタイプじゃなさそうだし。となるとこれはもう生活費のためと考えるのが健全でしょ。
Wow. Master detective over here.
まあ学生さんが生活費も学費も自分だけで賄うなんてのは健全じゃないんだけど。
いや、そうでもないですよ。働かざる者食うべからずです。
そっか。宗十郎さんは若いのに立派ね。私も学生の頃はバイト三昧だったから少しは君の大変さもわかるわよ。
なんと花沢さんも一人暮らしだったんですか？
ええ、親の反対を押し切ってよその国に留学しちゃったの。あっちには友達もいたから下宿先には困らなかったけど、さすがに食費ぐらいは稼がないとね。けどまあこう見えて肉体労働は苦にならないタイプだし、学院もバイトも楽しい思い出になってるわ。
Sojiro nodded agreeably. Dignified or not, he could barely hold back the sense of solidarity that was welling up within him.
これも何かの縁だし、魚達さんではこれからお世話になりそうだし、頼りないだろうけど相談事があったらぜひ言ってね。精神面で力になるわ。
Well.
ありがとうございます。じゃあ早速ですけど、ここは何をするところなんでしょう？
He's like, how do churches work? Please explain religion to me. As he said here, he pointed at the church. Yeah, this would be such a... Like, imagine meeting someone who's like high school age and you're like... They ask you, what do they do at churches? Like, explain religion to me. Even Hanazawa was taken aback by his question. Unaware of his provincial background, combined with her quick-witted nature, she seemingly mistook his question for some kind of sophisticated wit.
そうね。心の安全を扱っているというのはどうかしら。いえ、安全というよりは鎧？継ぎはぎのバリケード？とにかく本人はちっとも鍛えられないってことは同じよね。あとはパンとワインも分けてくれるわね。
Yeah, of course, yeah. The main reason to go to church is to get free bread and wine, right? Yeah, I like to get lunch at churches as well, you know? Why not? Save some money.
無料でですか？
もちろん。止めるものは勝手に置いていくって話。
あとはそっか、これが一番大きいんだけど、収入に税金がかからない。心の安全は扱いが難しいけ
Some
ど、
actually do?
きちん
Yeah,
と売り物にできれば
absolutely.
ノーリスクハイリ
Well, when I was a kid and I went through like my confirmation as well, I think we had to participate in one of those things that where they literally gave us bread and wine. So I had some too.
よくわからないですけど、ピンチの時はここに転がり込めばいいんですね。
You know, the body of God and the blood of God and all that.
それはおすすめしないな。ご利用は月に1回、気休め程度にした方がいいと思う。
The rag squeaked as the two carefree souls continued to wipe down the windows. Whistling as they went, they shined up one window, then another, then another. Another one.
そうだ、もう一つあります。ここから見えるあの森、何ですか？
Does she know about the Kuonji Manor?
森？あの山の上にある森のこと？
ですけど、あれは山じゃなくて丘と言うべきです。
As someone raised in the countryside, his pride would not allow for a mound of dirt to be called a mountain. He's like, yeah, that's not a mountain, that's a fucking hill, bro. Have you actually seen real mountains?
そう？あれはあれで結構登るのに体力使うんだけど。ま。
It was as if a shadow fell over her till now sunny disposition. She was undoubtedly a beautiful woman with very lovely features. But as Sojuro looked at her in that moment, her smile melted away, and he now saw how disturbed she was at his comment. Oh. And when it comes down to it...
あれは丘です。それとほら、ここから煙突みたいなの見えますか？
Oh, you can see the manor there. Wow. He was not one to closely watch people's reactions and fuss over his speech.
あれは本物の煙突よ。あの森は全部私有地なんだけど、その中にでっかい洋館が立っているの。でも私有地
Okay, so she knows about the existence clearly. Okay.
通称クオンジのお化け屋敷ってね。近所の皆さんは気味悪がってるし、あんまり近寄らない方がいいんじゃない？あんな小さな森なのに遭難したとか野犬が出るとか物騒な話には事欠かないから。
Sus. She knows the name too.
野犬って都会にも野犬
たくさんいるわよ。この教会の裏手の空き地にだっているし、ここの神父さんは物好きだからパンとかあげちゃって、それでワンちゃんの巡回ルートになっちゃってるんでしょうけど。とにかく君子危うきに近寄らずよ。あの森には入らないのが町のルールなの。そもそも私有地だし、入ったらおまわりさんを呼ばれちゃって、そのまま交番でお説教タイムなんてあんまり楽しくないでしょ。
Don't get po-poed. He nodded along to her story as he stared at the far-off chimney from his vantage point on the ladder. A teeny part of him was curious about that hill, because it reminded him of the woods where he grew up, but after reminding himself that it was none of his business, he returned to window washing. Well. Thanks to Hanazawa lending a hand, they were able to finish the job without a hitch. Between the two of them, they had accomplished a simple but very time-consuming task.
はい、ご苦労様でした。あれだけ砂まみれだった窓が見違えたわね。
Nice.
どう？これから適当なサテンでお茶にしない？宗十郎さんの仕事
Oh, she's getting really, really close, huh? Oh.
はい。何か言いました？花沢さん。
いや、ごめんなさい。休養を思い出しちゃった。
Well, that's weird.
花沢さんはここで失礼するのでした。チャオ。
She first suggested to go somewhere, then she's like, oh, I gotta be somewhere else instead. Okay. Sure. By the time he, who had started putting away the ladder, turned around, he was only able to catch a glimpse of the girl's figure dashing toward the street at lightning speed. Man, she really has to go be somewhere else, apparently. Okay. It was just before 3 o'clock. More than 3 hours had passed since she offered to help. They spent 3 hours cleaning windows. Oh my. Well, I guess church windows can be large, but still, holy. He watched the girl with many strange faces disappear. For someone who seemed to have been on an aimless walk, she had spent a good deal of time with him. Maybe helping him out reminded her of something she needed to do.
しずきくん、そっちにいるの?
The student council press popped her head out from the corner of the church.
あ、声かけてごめん。いいから作業に専念。
The sight of Sojiro putting away a ladder taller than himself seemed to have provoked an emotional response in her. Then in an instant she rolled up her sleeves and began to approach him. This surprised him more than Aoko's sudden appearance. Ignoring Sojiro's bewilderment, Aoko promptly began issuing orders.
はしご、横に倒していいわよ。下の方は私が持つから、あなたは上の方お願い。
She did all of this so matter-of-factly that Sojiro began lowering the ladder before he even had a chance to insist that he could do it by himself. Giga Chad. Wow. The Twilight Sky is back. With work finished and the sisters' thank you gifts in hand, the two put the church behind them. Since Aoko apparently had something to do around the station, they decided they would walk together until they got there.
でも、本当にアルバイト慣れしてるのね。
Beneath the orange-tinged sky, Aoko spoke more as though she was expressing her thoughts out loud than striking up a conversation.
そうか。青崎から見てそうなら少しは嬉しいな。
Sojiro gave her an earnest smile. But then again, he had been beaming ever since he received his pay, so the source of his joy was not so clear.
あのね、あなたは普段が問題ばっかりなんだから、あんまり調子に乗らないように。差し引きゼロっていうか、まだまだマイナスなんだから。
Whoa.
学校のことは言われると悲しくなる。
He hung his head dejectedly. Even if his job had been going well, school was still a bust. Exams were one thing, but even classwork was something he had found himself falling behind in.
青崎は成績悪いやつは嫌いか？
まあ、頭というか巡りの悪い人との話は疲れるでしょうね。でも、あなたはそれ以前だし、そもそも私にはこれっぽっちも関係ないし。
Well, tsundere much?
でっかいハンデを何とかするのは先生たちの仕事で、それに応えるのはあなたの役目。アルバイトもいいけど、帰ったらきちんと予習やっときなさいよ。
In a lot of ways, she feels very similar to Rin, at least so far.
それはもちろん、学校の人たちはみんないい人だ。
そう、ならいいけど、みんないい人
She cocked her head to one side, unsure how this exchange had resulted in that response. She decided not to, or to interpret as Sojiro simply expressing his gratitude in his own peculiar way.
ところで、参考までに聞くんだけど、あなた、他にどんなバイトしてるの？
どこって商店街が多い。魚のお店とか、花の店とか。あ、でも昨日は隣町まで遠出したな。遊園地のアルバイト。
God damn, this dude is like working everywhere. He even goes to a different town. What the hell, dude? Since the only school authorized locations were in Misaki Shopping District, his response was much as she expected. That is, except for the decidedly unexpected last part.
遊園地ってヤシロギの？
Well.
そう。使わなくなった看板とかオブジェとか解体して運び出したんだ。さすがに疲れたな、あれは。
Well.
へえ、それは体力勝負でしょうね。
They call me the working man. This left Aoko rather impressed. Transporting unused amusement park machinery was not a job that students did willingly in their free time.
でもいいな。私、キッチーランドって一度も行ったことないの。三崎町に住んでるのに。
She looked up in the direction of the neighboring town. From here you could just barely make out the Ferris wheel. The round steel frame of the wheel, illuminated by the sunset as it was reminiscent of an old gravestone.
そうか。それは金銭的な理由で。
Whoa. She had to stifle her laughter. She knew it would be rude to Sojiro to burst out laughing, but the remark tickled her funny bone.
そういうんじゃなくて。
Wow, toxic.
単純にあれが開園してから立て込んでて遊びに行く暇がなかっただけよ。お金で解決する問題だったらそれこそ今すぐに言ってるわ。
She showed him the envelope that contained the pay from the church. There was nothing sinister about her remark and gesture, but the fact that she did not jump at the chance to go made Sojiro sad.
それなら今度行けばいいじゃないか。
Whoa, is that asking her out for a date? Whoa.
ありがとう。けどそれは無理な話。
Rejected. Too early on.
あんたのことだから気づいていないと思うけど、あれ潰れてるのよ。
Wait, it's not open, so why did he work there? What?
廃園になってからもう2年以上経つんじゃない？
Are they just taking it down? Is that what he was doing, I guess?
なんと。
Uh-oh. Imagine taking the place down as your work and then not realizing it's because they closed down. It was no wonder there were no customers all the time he was there. Exasperated as she was at Sojiro, the student council press seemed to be enjoying herself. At this point, she would be yelling things at him like, "I can't believe you didn't know that." But this evening, this one and only evening, she found it charming. Whoa, is she like, starting to warm up to him? Uh-oh. They parted ways and Sojiro returned home to his apartment, immersed himself in his studies, and before he knew it, it was time to go to work. The major cultural difference, though certainly not the only point of difference between city and country, was the use of time. It did not matter what part of the city he was in, time flowed far too quickly here. Failing to squeeze even a drop of knowledge from his textbooks, he put them away for the day before heading into town. Oh, is that a leaf? Back here again. The night grew deeper as today turned into tomorrow. He reversed his collar to protect his neck from the bitter cold and began to make his way back home. Not a soul to be seen. No dogs scrounging for food, no late-night shoppers. Why would there be? The solitary convenience store in the area closed at 11 o'clock. Damn, the drip though, look at that, ooh. Look at my man, looking good. Clean. He mustered what little energy he had to take in an especially deep breath. Man-made landmarks lined the deserted street. Garish blue fluorescent lights, brighter than the stars above, illuminated the darkness. An unconscious sense of anxiety stirred within him.
情けない。夜が怖いのは当たり前じゃないか。
Fear of the dark, great song. A chill crept up his spine as he attempted to mask his weakness with words. Stay out of the dark. Stay away from deserted places. Whether it was for some deeper reason or perhaps the fact that he looked so helpless, everybody he had met in his life seemed to warn him with those words.
そうは言ってもしょうがないし。大体。
That's true, Durag, yeah. What did that even mean? Stay out of the dark. Nowhere in the city was without lights. Everywhere from the bustling train station to the remote residential areas was illuminated by artificial lights, not least the main roads. Scary was scary, but this kind of fear was of a different sort than what he'd felt in the mountains. The most likely source of his fear was the fact that this place was governed by starkly different rules. The way in which the city meted out justice was terribly imbalanced. And to the provincial Sojiro, his lack of familiarity with the laws of the land terrified him far more than the dark. It's a nice and evening light, or scenery rather. In the mountains, retribution came swiftly to those who broke the rules. Take a game trail, for example. Those who unwittingly trespassed the animal kingdom's domain would, as a matter of course, be savaged by the native wildlife. Accordingly, in his mind, an offender paid the price for one's mistakes immediately. It was not a matter of who punished whom, it was simply that the one who broke the rules would meet instant, tangible retribution. He felt that in this regard the laws of the city were far too ambiguous. One could meet their demise without ever knowing whether one was in the right or wrong. Yeah, the soundtrack is nice. To put it simply, retribution was delayed. To take the analogy a step further, back home in his village, no one individual had been given the responsibility of maintaining order. In the city, however, someone was put in charge of punishing the lawbreakers on behalf of the kind-hearted citizens who lived there. While crime and punishment in the mountains were synonymous, in the city the two were separated, and an unrelated person brought judgment after the crime had been committed. Entering places that must not be entered, seeing things that must be seen. Breaking a law had consequences. Someone would come to exact justice for the law that was broken. The result of all this was that the safest way to survive the city was not to stick your nose in the affairs of others. When the people who cared about Sojiro told him to stay away, they probably meant, if you don't, nobody will be able to help you. No matter how much of a nuisance these obstacles were, one could not just climb over a neighbor's fence, even when one's apartment was just the other side. If the people inside happened to be awake and called the police, nobody would lift a hand to help him. Yeah, you gotta go around, bro. Yeah, he's the master of shortcuts. He even took the window in the school. With his misguided view of the city, he once again ended his day in peace. Unable to fall asleep right away, he gazed out his window upon the night sky from the floor of his apartment. The cityscape had caused him to tremble in fear when he first moved here. The convenience of solving almost any problem with the flip of a switch. The novelty of living a wall away from a complete stranger. It all disappeared into the night sky when he looked up. Wow. Unconsciously, he recalled his own words. What dimmed stars? What a cramped sky. Here, there were no starry nights. Could he even survive here? The same misgivings since his first night continued to haunt him. His eyelids fell shut. Although he was fraught with worry, his body felt the fatigue from his work and studies, and thus he fell fast asleep. Ooh, wow. Achievement, probably from doing all the 0.5 stuff here. Wow! Interlude's over. Now, definitely longer than expected, but I don't mind. That was pretty insightful. Good knowledge about the characters. Right. Let's do a cheeky save at this point too. Might as well. Okay. Oh, I saved it on 13 instead of 2. Oh wait, no, I did. It's 2. Okay. Okay. Anyway, now we can go on to the next episode. Yay. Well, back to the main action. Chapter 2, or Episode 2, Little Happening of Last Night. How's the head feeling? Not too bad, I want to say. I think I can still keep going. I'm also very curious, so that helps, I guess. Okay. So now it's back to daytime. You hope you do the 0.5 chapters, you move on to the main chapters. Oh, did you just join? Because I just finished doing them. Well, I just spent the last 2 hours reading through the 1.5 chapters. So yeah, I am always gonna do them whenever there's new before moving on. Because, you know, might as well, you know.
けど、慣れれば割と住みやすいとは思う。
Just joined. Yeah. We just finished all of the 4 ones that were available. Very cool stuff, actually. Helps you understand the characters better, especially. Sojiro sighed listlessly. He looked down at the winter schoolyard below, lost in thought. December was written on the corner of the chalkboard. He could not believe 10 days had already passed since he transferred to the school. The last vestiges of autumn had faded with the change of the month. The trees were all but barren, and the ground below them a mat of fallen leaves. So that's already kind of different from Stay Night, because there was, like, since the prologue of the game, there's no time skips at all until the end, right? It's just days, like the chapters are basically the days since the Holy Grail War begins, right? So they don't skip any days or anything like that, but here they already skipped 10 days, I guess. Since, if we count episode 1 as prologue or something, I guess. Interesting. Okay, I mean, I don't really mind, but it's just something to point out, I guess. Fourth period was classics. An elderly teacher stood at the lectern and rambled on. While he had finally gotten used to the classroom, he still had a long way to go to get up to speed in his classes. Lacking even the basic understanding most students learn in their early scholastic life, it was a battle for him to keep up. Even if he was unable to grasp all the content right away, he at least tried to memorize everything in the hope that he could make use of it down the road. Which is why losing himself in his thoughts was about the last thing he should have been doing. He would normally chastise himself for daydreaming, but... Troublingly, he was unable to concentrate in class today. He could not place the source of his lack of concentration. It could not have been the winter in the city. It was much milder than in the mountains. Neither was his part-time job particularly tiring. He was not any more physically fatigued than the average student, so that could not be it either. Others might conclude that it was because the courses were boring, but that seemed off the mark too. He did not share his classmates' opinions about their classes. On the contrary, he rather enjoyed his class time. No, his frame of mind was not to blame either. Trying to figure out what was wrong only made him more depressed. Well. He scolded himself and turned his attention to the chalkboard. The rhythmic ticks of the chalk were sending him into a slumber, but he somehow managed to resist their lullaby. And yet he was still unable to focus on the class. Sojiro reflected silently as was his custom and sighed inwardly. Deep down he knew the real source of his agitation. The events of the previous night were the only thing it could be. With the chime to signal the end of the class, the teacher bowed and exited into the hallway. To see him off, the 30 or so students all stood up from their desks. The clock, which had seemed to slow dramatically around 11:30, now struck noon. The tension seemed to fade from the rule all at once. The release from a difficult lesson was the start of lunchtime, the highlight of school life. Misaki High's cafeteria was not particularly known for its quality of food. Complaints that the quality was below that of a private school went unheeded, and the same unique flavors appeared on the menu each and every day. Private school prices coupled with subpar quality led to the majority of students to opt for lunchboxes instead. Sojiro's Class 2C was no exception. The boys muscled as many as 10 desks into what resembled a long dining table. Conversely, the girls divided themselves into smaller tables of 2 or 3 desks with practiced ease and started chatting with their cliques. Not a single student wasted even a second of their precious lunchtime. Where both sides differed in method, they shared a common goal. Sojiro was struck dumb by the efficiency of the transformation. Even after 10 days, he was unable to keep pace with the rest of the class and remained seated where he had sat during the previous period.
Oi! こっち来いよ、しずき。
The voice came from the large makeshift dining table near the window. Hosuke Kinomi was beckoning him over while leaning back at his chair in a way that looked like he could fall backward at any second. He was regularly shot down by others in the class for being lazy and crass, but his earnest nature kept him from getting on anyone's bad side. Though something could be said for not being so forthcoming all the time too.
飯にしようぜ、飯。俺さ、昨日店の残り物もらいすぎたんだよ。春巻きだよ、春巻き。それを見た親父がさ、もらったもんは残すなって。
Good old spring rolls.
食いもん、春巻きしかねえんだわ。
It seemed his endgame was to find someone who might take pity on him and trade him for something better. The two of them worked at the same restaurant, so he was one of the few people Sojiro knew before starting school. He was also the reason Sojiro was able to learn the true meaning of the phrase, can't live with them, can't live without them.
お、いいな。しずきも来いよ。今日は待ちに待った缶詰祭りをすっからさ。
Does not sound very appealing.
ついに結婚するのかよ。誰か冷静になった方がいいんじゃないのか。
バカ、すげえ楽しいってきっと。そりゃパチモン臭いけど、カニ缶とか食い放題なんだぜ。サバ缶じゃなくて。
Canned crab? Can't say I've ever had this delicacy.
マジ？やったー！俺も参加する。コンビーフは一人一個？それとも早い者勝ち？
お前な、一人で何個も食えるもんじゃねえぞあれ。うまいのは最初の一個だけだって。
しずきたちが来るならノルマは一人7個に下がるのか。助かる。
ところで木の実の弁当の中身、なんか缶詰より硬そうじゃね？
The boys usually passed the time by making fun of each other's lunches, but today they were united against a common foe. A pyramid of countless cans stood in the middle of the table. They had all been taken from the pantry of a certain student's house, and the expiration dates on them had all been scribbled out with a marker. So wait, are they doing like a roulette or something? Someone might get like expired shit or whatever?
食べるも地獄、残すも地獄。我ら5次元目の授業はないものと恐れぬ修羅となり、鉄の悪魔どもを平らげん。食材は下町の何でも紹介、マーケット中山からの提供です。
Interesting.
ヒュー！バカも休み休み、イエーイ！
The boys united as one and hoisted their can openers into the air.
ほら、しずきも食べようぜ。缶切りならまだあるからさ。
いや、君らの弁当の毒味はごめんだって昨日言ったはずだ。それに、その缶詰半分以上、賞味期限切れてる。
I would pass too, not gonna lie.
なんだよ、釣れねえな。
Quite an inexplicably excited group of guys. Their real motivation seemed to be to spread the pain. But moved by their energy and conceding defeat, Sojiro got up from his seat and joined them. And before he could... I mean, you probably can eat it fallen, but you know, it's probably not gonna be any good, you know? Oh my, he's getting invited by the girls. Oh my god, Riz Master already? Another interested party joined the fray. A girl with short but stylish hair had called out to him. She had also tried to get Sojiro to join the track and field club several days earlier.
Yeah, そっちも遠慮したいな、できれば。
I need a new drink. Ooh. You guys stay hydrated too. Oh, okay. Very good. No Beppis today. Yeah, no Beppis today. I have some Beppis too, but you know, I still have some of these, so I might as well drink these as well. Yeah, that's true, Master Am. He answered with a troubled look on his face. On their table was nothing but a pile of fruits he had never seen before.
なんで？パパイヤとか嫌い？マンゴーもあるし、
ヤシの実だってあるし、内緒だけど夕張メロンもあるんだから。
I don't think I've ever had papayas. They're kinda exotic around here. The members of the fruit group pumped their fists in unison as at that last delicacy.
待て、なんだヤシの実って。あれ食えるもんなの？
あ、マンゴー余ったら回してほしいな。バカ、肉食え肉。そんなんだ。
I think they would have to be imported because they don't probably, natively grow around here at all. Sojiro couldn't keep track of all the voices flying across the room.
わかるのはどっちも破滅的だってことだけだ。
That being said, he found it difficult to refuse them outright. His tendency to accept others' goodwill at face value occasionally left him frozen with indecision. Not accustomed to regular human interaction, he was unable to judge when it was or was not appropriate to turn someone down. Someone tapped the lost little lamb on the shoulder.
ほっとけほっとけ。いちいちここのバカともに付き合ってちゃ人生台無しだ。適当に流
Whoa,
して
it's my guy. What's his name? Tobimaru, right?
ほら、お前らもな、善良な羊を悪の園に引きずり込んでんじゃねえよ。
So he calls him Sonoji when he's talking to others as well, I guess. It's not just like a friend group thing. An inappropriately loud voice echoed throughout the classroom from behind him.
副会長。
Oh, student council vice press, huh? Sojiro turned around to see a boy about a head taller than him. His long hair, while unkempt, had been brushed back, giving it an unappealing, windswept look. His attractive features belied the contempt for the classroom his eyes carried. Unlike the perpetually dopey-looking Sojiro, he was an extremely attractive boy, capable of captivating anyone who so much as glanced at him. Wow, look at the Master of Riz 2.0. Will I ever taste durian? I don't know, man. I'm so, sensitive to smells and shit. And I'm so, such a picky eater as well. I'm not sure if I ever could, but who knows? Never say never, I guess. In most cases, such a boy's presence would be met with awe and respect. However...
なんだよ、副会長様のお出ましかよ。
Wow, that sounds a little sarcastic.
てめえらのバカ顔にはコリゴリだって学食に陣取ってたんじゃなかったのかよ。へへへ。ここは見ての通り、ボンクラどもが集う品
Start with ice cream candy. Yeah, usually if something is has a strong flavor or something, and is also used in flavor stuff, not just raw in whatever the source is, it's probably better to try the flavor-based stuff first. It's the same with salmiakki, for instance, if I were to offer you guys raw salmiakki who have never had salty licorice before, 99% of you would say it tastes like shit, and you would spit it. You would not even swallow it. You would just spit it out because it's so strong and probably bad for you. But if you had I don't know, salmiakki flavored ice cream or something, that might be easier to digest. Although it's still gonna taste strong anyway, but it will be maybe a bit easier to ease into that. It's just one of those things that people here grow up with. I don't think anyone really here even likes it when they first try it, but people start having some even when they're little kids, so they get used to it, and it's an acquired taste, really, is what I'm getting at here. Oh, so maybe it's the same thing for stuff like durian and maybe other stuff as well that is a bit unique to say the least. It's sushi for lunch and KFC for dinner. Shouldn't it be the other way around? KFC for dinner sounds a bit heavy to me because it's so greasy, but I mean, both sound delicious, so hey, that's nice, I guess. You don't like salty things? Yeah, it's very salty. Very, very salty. High sodium.
またしずき呼びに来たのかよ。青子女子といい、飛び丸殿下といい。しずき、なんかやばいことしちゃったのか。
Some people like to have heavy dinners. Yeah, I guess, but isn't it recommended to not eat too much before you sleep, though? If you're gonna have many meals per day, dinner should probably be your lightest one, honestly. Like I usually only have a light dinner. I eat like a big meal for lunch.
しずきくんは校則違反しないじゃん。
Although today I didn't really eat much because I didn't have a high appetite after my migraine, but I knew I had to eat something at least. But yeah, I ate way less today than, you know, recent days.
ってことはやっぱり築地くん青崎に振られてからそっちに走ったって本当だったのね。
You have more time to cook for dinner? Well, it depends on your situation, I guess, but yeah, chances are, sure. They continued to give him a hard time. Sojiro could not help but feel sorry for him. The class vice president, on the other hand, showed absolutely no reaction whatsoever. He's like, fuck if I care, they can talk. Ignored Giga Chad. He glared at them with a bored look and simply raised his voice.
相変わらず無駄に元気があって結構じゃねえかてめえら。
Wow.
そんなに活力たぎってんなら冬季特別清掃班にだって参加できるよな。おい、今んところ自主的に申し出てるのは全校で1人しかいねえんだ。西井全員が参加すりゃ俺も青崎も肩の荷が下りるってもんなんだがよ。
Wait, new Lord of the Rings? I mean, even if you say it's by Peter Jackson, that sounds a bit sus because, you know, Tolkien's long gone, dude. Unless it's based on some source material that was never adapted or something. Otherwise, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna trust that even with Peter Jackson. The menacing growl in his voice contrasted greatly with the boy's well-constructed looks. Both Team Canned and Team Fruit's words were doused like a fire being smothered. This was partly due to their fear of the boy, but mostly due to their fear of the special winter cleaning team. Woo. Release date 2026. I mean, sure, dude. He made 2004 King Kong. I don't know about that movie. Like, is that movie well received or is that like a really shit movie? I don't know, honestly. I mostly just know the Tolkien stuff from him. Yeah, I guess he did also make Hobbit movies, and those were quite a dip in quality compared to Lord of the Rings. So who knows what's gonna happen. Yes, the special winter cleaning team. Joining meant spending part of your winter break cleaning up the old school building and mountainous rear courtyard that had been neglected by the previous two student councils. It was a form of legalized torture that could potentially ruin 3 whole days of your winter break. Ruh-roh. And forget about any compensation in the form of extra credits. No, it was pointless volunteer work for a student council project. It was practically a miracle they had found even a single volunteer.
いや、僕らちょっと体弱いんで、スミッチョで缶詰食べてますね。
Well.
私たちも貧血で
Damn, that shut them down really fast.
果物食べてないと死んじゃうっていうか、冬休みはもう予定いっぱいっていうか。
All of the students but one scuffled away.
よし、昼食はやっぱり静かにやらねえとな。1年坊主の教室より2年の教室の方がやかましいなんて苦情。いい加減にしやがれよ、アホども。
The mob meekly scurried away. Sojiro turned to join them, but as he did...
あ、お前はこっちだ、宗次郎。
Uh-oh.
ちょい顔貸せ。
Rip. The hand on his shoulder held him in place.
だよ、生徒会応募。人んちのテーブルマナーまで指図してほしくねえよな。
Hinomi cursed him under his breath to his friends. The second the vice president turned to go.
はあ？上等じゃねえか、木の実。いいぜ。お前が記念すべき2人目だ。冬休み、首を洗って待ってやがれ。
The vice president must have heard everything Hinomi said because he gave a thumbs up before figuratively jabbing it in his eye.
はあ？何言ってんですか、あいつ。あれ自主的なイベントじゃん。いくら副会長だって強制はできないですよね。
The problem child of Class C laughed merrily.
そりゃ昨日までの話だ。会長の提案が学校側に受理されてな。 本日付で生徒会役員は強制力のある推薦権をもらえたんだよ。
Forcibly enlisting students. Wow. Dictatorship.
特に会長と副会長の推薦は絶対だ。拒否した場合、学校側はともかく青崎が何するか俺には止められねえから、そのつもりでな。
それ事実上の死刑宣告じゃ。生徒会マジ応募。
Kinomi's terrified shrieking continued behind them as the vice president and Sojiro left the classroom. Wow.
お前も大変だな、宗十郎。
あんたも割と暇なんだな、副会長。
The two entered the empty student council room. Wow, it's so anime. Misaki High Student Council had the use of two rooms. One was a large office specifically made for the student council. The second was an archive room once used as a preparatory office for math courses. I can't do words. As the latter of the two, the walls were lined with densely packed shelves, making an already cramped room seem even more confined. For this reason, it served more as a private refuge to the student council. The two students sat across from one another. Tobimaru Tsukiji. He was the son of the chairman of Misaki High School and the vice president of its student council. Like Sojiro, he was in the second year and first met the transfer student a week earlier when the task of looking after him was dumped onto the student council.
副会長はやめろって。クソったれな話だが、俺は所詮会長の犬だからな。
Yeah, today is Mahoyo Day route, yeah. As self-deprecating as his words were, he hardly seemed dissatisfied with the arrangement. He took a snack from his pocket and grimaced at it before taking a bite. The 100-calorie energy bar sacrificed flavor for efficacy, but somehow not enough to prevent him gnawing on it like a piece of jerky.
そうか。でも犬は良くないな、飛び丸。
Tell that to Ku. Sojiro sat in the chair with a concerned look on his face.
あ？犬がどうしたって？
True. Dogs are nice.
犬は良くないって言った。例えが違う気がするし、何より怖いぞ。
Wow, the first L take from my guy. What is he talking about? What is blood waffling about?
なんだよ。山奥育ちのくせに犬が怖いのか？
そりゃ大抵の生き物は怖いけど、犬は別格だ。徒党を組んだ野犬ほど始末に負えないものはない。足の速さも脅威だけど、何より執念深すぎる。
Am I playing on stream the full game up to a certain chapter? Well, since I did start the game on stream, the plan is to do all of it on stream. So, everything on stream. It might take a while, of course, but when there's time, I'm gonna try and, schedule it outside of sub-Saturdays like today as well, because I am very interested in the game, And since I got started now, I just kind of want to keep going until, I beat it, because otherwise I'll forget things and whatnot, so, yeah. Hey, Haas, how you doing?
坂だろうと追いかけてたし、最後の一匹になるまで引かないんだぞ。
He's talking about wild dogs. Well, that's a POV problem then. It's still an L take. In his defense, he grew up in the mountains, of course, so he hasn't seen dogs as pets, that are proper dogs and whatnot. So, yeah, fair, but, still an L take because he doesn't know better. Soldier opened his lunch as he spoke. Inside the bright green cloth, 3 beautifully baked triangular rice balls. Why didn't they translate them as jelly donuts? Where's my immersion? Come on, localization team. You translate kilometers to miles, but you can't do jelly donuts? Are you even trying?
ショックって何が？
いや、 そんなこの世のものとは思えない握り飯を見たのは初めてだ。
There was a recording limit for the PS when it was released. I doubt there's any limits anymore, but you know, if there is, then you know, and someone knows about it, then obviously do let me know, I guess. I don't want to break any rules or anything like that.
それどっちなんだ？
褒めてるんだよ、バカ。
Sojiro was always confounded by phrasing that could be interpreted in multiple ways. Euphemisms and subtle sarcasm were often lost on him. It was only on rare occasions like this one that he chose to confirm what was being said. Tobimaru had come to suspect that Sojiro had a very black and white way of seeing things.
ところで、その固まった小麦粉みたいなの。
You're good to stream the whole game now? Oh, so it wasn't like for a while after the release or something? Okay. Sojiro stared at the energy bar with a curious look on his face.
まずくはねえが、うまくもねえよ。まあ、試してみる分には止めねえが。人間、何事も手間暇惜しむようになっちゃおしまいだぜ。
Tobimaru quickly finished off his bar, put another one on the table, and grabbed one of Sojiro's rice ball. Sojiro failed to notice the rudeness of the forced exchange and gave their preferred energy bar a try. Tastes like dirt, nice.
違いない。遊びをなくせば人生こんなもんだって見本だな。
RIP. Out of principle, Sojiro labored over his energy bar, cringing all the while. He was both curious of the unknown and loath to leave something unfinished.
今無理に平らげる必要はねえぞ。
No half measures, Walter.
ってところだからな。素で味気ないが、食えるうちは味が落ちないのがいいところだ。まあ、そっちはともかく。どうだ、少しは慣れたか？
ああ、飛丸や青崎が気を使ってくれているからね。
Tobimaru turned his eyes up to the ceiling, unable to handle Sojiro's carefree smile. As absent-minded as he might have been, his expressions were nonetheless incredibly earnest. It was like poison to someone as self-absorbed as Tobimaru.
だから青崎は来ねえんだよな。
He took a bite from the rice bowl to steer himself away from such thoughts. Though now cold, the rice had managed to maintain its freshness, startling Tobimaru.
いや待て。気を使ってんのは俺だけじゃねえか。青崎なんて、お前が転入した日に彼迷惑だから見張ってての一言だけだぞ。
なんでそこで君が怒るんだ？
いや、だからだな。お前が学校になれるよう陰ながら見守ってんのは俺で、青崎は生徒会室で全校生徒の弱みを集めてるだけって話だ。
He's mad about it.
苦労してんのは俺だけじゃねえかって。
He stopped himself, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. Sojiro rightly knew it was nothing to get this upset over.
いいさ。青崎に言いつけられなきゃこうなることもなかったしな。知ってるか？あいつどうして俺にこんな役させたと思う？
副会長だからだろ。
Tobimaru's handsome face went dark.
あのな、どうして副会長が転入生一人にかかりっきりにならなくちゃいけねえんだよ。いいぜ。機会があったら青崎本人に聞いてみな。あいつの本性がわかるからよ。
He snatched another bite of the rice ball while grumbling under his breath. There it was again, rice grains that were just dry enough to be fresh and tender in the mouth, a morsel that betrayed its humble description, which must have been delicately molded by a master chef rather than a haphazardly clumped into a bowl.
そして何よりこの塩加減、中の具から染み出した。
Wow, is this shokugeki now?
食欲をそそるどころか。
Excuse me, that was a sudden one. Okay.
飛丸、 思ってることが口に出てるみたいだけど。
Yeah, I guess they did, Gene, yeah. My guy's foodgasming.
いや、それほどのショックだったってわけだ。なあ、その字。これ、具はなんだ？
It's cum. It was only natural to inquire about the unexpectedly delicious bite. He had been nibbling around the edges and not yet reached its center. Still streaming? Yeah, I'm still feeling pretty okay, yeah. We'll see. I want to stream hopefully at least 3 hours, you know? That's like a minimum, hopefully.
ああ、それはイナゴ。
ありえねえ!
You can't eat grasshoppers though. Like, dried out grasshoppers are fairly okay, you know? The vice president choked on his cough. He had assumed that Sojiro would prefer earthly ingredients instead of seafood on account of his mountain life, but he never expected he would use grasshoppers. They do that a bit here too, actually.
ああ、今のは嘘だよ。
Damn, got him, dude. They locked eyes for a moment. Love at first sight. Gauge.
本当は鮭。
Oh.
いくらなんでもイナゴ。
Oh, dude, I want some salmon now. I had some like last week, but I ate it all.
Oh, そうだよな。いや、安心した。いくらなんでもイナゴはねえよな。
ああ、こんな都会で身の締まったイナゴが手に入るもんか。
As curious as those words were, Tobimaru decided to not let them go.
たく、どっちにしても冗談きついぜ。危うく吐き出すところだったじゃねえか。らしくねえぞ、宗十郎。
君が青崎の悪口を言うからだ。
Whoa. Sojiro closed his eyes as he continued to chew on his rice ball. What is that face, though? Look at him. Is that a judging face or what? Okay. Tobimaru watched incredulously as Sojiro made no attempt to hide his disapproval. Slightly miffed, yeah.
今のはさすがに聞き捨てならねえぞ。俺が青崎の悪口を言ったから意種返しをしたと、そういうことか？
Wow, he's already simping, dude. Sojiro continued chewing. The country boy's silent protest said all that needed to be said. The vice president suddenly looked like he had been struck by lightning.
なんてこった。お前、まさか青崎に惚れてんのか？
Uh-oh.
そうなのか？そうなんだな。おい、眠ってねえで起きろ。
Tobimaru flew out of his chair and violently shook Sojiro by the shoulders. He opened his eyes.
そうか。お前は1年前の惨劇を知らないんだな。
Maybe history time.
知ってりゃ、そんなストレートな破滅願望を持つこともなかった。
Maybe someone tried to approach her and he got blasted.
君の言葉には誤解が含まれてるけど、それは後にする。
Damn, he immediately just wants to know.
1年前の惨劇って？
Well, I mean, I want to know too. He regained his composure and sat down after a moment's thought.
仕方ねえ。この手の噂をするのは好きじゃねえんだけど。
Gossip time. He reassured himself that it was in Sojiro's best interest as a young man to know.
あれは青崎がまだ1年の頃の話だ。あの頃はみんな入学したばっかりで、青崎がどんな性格か誰も知らなかった。あいつ、外見は文句なしに美人だからな。そりゃ男どもは狂気乱舞したもんさ。
Little did they know that soon after they would go crazy for an entirely different reason. Okay.
4月5月はもう上を下への大騒ぎだよ。あの時ばかりは上級生も下級生もなかったな。野郎同士の牽制、共闘、果ては決闘まで。まあよくも騒いだもんさ。 青
なんでそんなよくわからない事態になるんだ？
そりゃ青崎は一人きり、命知らずな野郎は延べ100人ほどいたからだ。
So instead of a Holy Grail war, they have a Aozaki war.
一人一人青崎
All
とランチ
dudes
しても
fighting for one
3
girl.
ヶ月かかるだろ。
And what was that, Fuller? Did that ever go anywhere from that though?
だからまずは男同士でつまんねえ暗闘があったのさ。まあいい。わからねえならそこは飛ばそう。所詮負け犬どもの話だしな。本筋にはなりえね
え。Okay.
でな、そんなどうでもいい戦いを勝ち残った奴らは列なして一年の女に言い寄ったわけだ。青崎はあれで、なんていうか、相手のなけなしの誠意じゃなくてあれか、勇気、そういうのを無視できずに認めちまうやつだからな。言い寄ってくる相手を可能な限り丁寧に断ってた。が中にはそれで勘違いしちまうやつもいてよ。3年のある野郎がこれは脈ありと見て青崎に何度も言い寄ったんだよ。多分そいつ頭がおかしかったんだ。
Incidentally, Tobimaru decided to gloss over the fact that this student was also the former student council press.
学園ばかりか。青崎の家まで押しかけたそうでな。あまりにしつこいんで青崎も堪忍袋の尾が切れたんだろう。
I wonder what she did.
口にするのははばかられる方。
Actually blasted.
結果、そいつは自分から他校に転入希望したばかりか、三崎町からも逃げ出しちまって、
Wow.
青崎も1ヶ月ばかり自宅禁
Damn,
止。
she got violent.
世に言う血の公会堂事件だ。詳しく知りたけりゃ本人はまずいな。新聞部にでも行け。あそこの部長は命知らずだから聞けば面白がって教えてくれる。
飛丸、その具体的な表現を恋に避けてないか？
仕方ねえだろ。理事長の息子だろうがなんだろうが怖いものは怖えし、高校ぐらいは無事卒業しとかねえとな。うちの女子の制服見るたびに規制を上げるトラウマなんて持ちたくねえよ。
Sojiro tilted his head to the side in confusion. Tobimaru had lost him with that comment.
ああ、いい。それよりなんで青崎なんかがいいんだよ、宗次郎。
He tilted his head again, this time to the other side.
おい、お前本当に青崎が好きなのか？単に胸がドキドキ言ってるだけならそれは恋じゃなくて恐怖だってオチもあるぜ。いくらその字がぼんやりでも理由ってもんがあるだろう。
Yeah, I think they do school newspaper stuff. I'm not sure if they need a club for that specifically for it to be a thing, but yeah, it's a thing. He tilted his head even further. What Tobimaru was saying sounded off, but Sojiro decided not to press the matter. All the more because he found many of his own emotions towards Aoko to be incomprehensible.
そうだな、おかしい。俺はあまり彼女を知らないのにね。
That was because they had not truly spoken to each other since the day she showed him around. Every time he tried to talk to her, she immediately got up and left. As fate would have it, they ended up working together that recent Sunday, but made only idle chatter on the way back. I assume that was the interlude in the church, right? Yeah.
けど飛丸、君は知らないだけなんだ。時々なんだが、誰かの視線を感じて振り返ってみると、いつ失敗するかを心配して見ている人がいる。飛丸の言う通り、ただ廊下で俺を見かけて単に監視していただけなのかもしれない。 本当は俺のことなんて気にせず素通りしたいのかもしれない。
This seem interesting so far. Hope the movie adaptation comes out soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Also, hey, Phantom, thank you for the 11 months and a big welcome back to the Go Gang. Yeah, even though I'm reading this right now and we'll hopefully finish it too, I'm still gonna watch the movie stuff as well for sure.
けど、どんな種類であれ、彼女の心配は本物だ。それに、ここが一番大事だと思うんだけど。実際の話、青崎のそういうところのおかげで、俺は助かっていたりするんだ。
His tone was measured and sincere. Tobimaru sighed with a tinge of regret. If not for those words, he could have introduced Sojiro to a more suitable girl with whom he could have lived out for the rest of his school days in peace. He never went to such lengths for his other friends. Generally speaking, if it was of some benefit to him, he was unafraid of exploiting another. If they were of no use, he didn't bother getting involved with them. That was how Tobimaru Tsukiji operated. Sojiro happened to be of the type of person who provided no benefit to him, yet somehow sparkled him a desire to help. Oh, so you're like really gung-ho about the, faithfulness of adaptation, Char? Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not really gonna comment on that because we would just definitely agree to disagree, but as someone who read the Heaven's Feel visual novel, I still love the movies. I mean, are they a perfect adaptation? Not by any means. Are they still amazing movies? Yeah, they're freaking great. Like, fuck, dude. But yeah, I assume you would probably just disagree anyway, so probably not, good to talk about that. Anyway, it was not that friendship that was completely alien to him. He did not have any people he felt that close to. So if Sojiro had really fallen for Aoko, it was not his place as a friend to try to change his mind.
やれやれ。結局、惚れてるやつには理由なんていらねえんだな。
そんなことはない。理由なら一つある。彼女を一目見たときに、綺麗だなって思ったぞ。
Wow, the instant simping is real. His shoulders slumped.
なんだあんだけ恥ずかしいセリフ言っといて、要は外見に惚れてますな。結局見てくれかよ、宗次郎。
綺麗なものに見とれるのは。
True, it's like Tobimaru's like, what? You just like her because she looks nice? And then he's like, yeah, what's wrong with that? Bro, like, yeah, why not? You can like something because they look nice. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to appreciate 100% of someone to like them, So, why not? I mean, it helps, but, you don't need a big reason. In fact, it's probably the most way for someone to like someone anyway, that they find them attractive, right? It's like the easiest way to, like fall in love with someone. At least most of the time. Not the only way, but, usually that's how it goes down. That sounded like a sophism to Tobimaru, but he had no counterpoint to offer. Yeah.
しょうがねえ。わかったよ。この話はもうやめよう。
He's honest, yeah.
誰をてめえの女にするか、俺の知ったことじゃねえし。
Honesty is good. Now, Tobimaru was mistaken about one major point during this whole conversation. Namely that Sojiro was not head over heels in love with Aoko and hoped to go steady with her. He merely liked her as a person. Nobody could have foreseen the massive calamity that would be caused by this simple misunderstanding. Again, foreboding? What? Okay.
だがよ、一つだけ忠告しておくぜ、そうじゃ。
I like that he went black and white with that too.
青崎は喧嘩をした相手だろうと別に嫌うわけじゃない。逆に言えば親切にしたって別に好かれるわけでもない。いい例が俺だ。
Whoa, feels bad. He spoke with a pained sigh as if opening old wounds from the past.
そうか。詳しく。
He's like immediately, what happened?
おう、 昔な、あいつがあんまりに独善的だったんで、つい手を挙げかけちまったことがある。
I'm not gonna lie, that movie sounds way less grand than any movie from the original trilogy, Fallen. That doesn't sound as epic.
半年前の夏だ。1年もあいつと生徒会やってたもんだから、俺も女っつうより戦友って気になっててな。つい勢いで平手打ちをしようと右手を上げた。我ながら4番バッターも角也という腰のひねり。確かな実感とともに俺は勝利を確信したもんさ。
Whoa. He had a distant look in his eyes as his words trailed off.
翌日になって、こりゃ完全に敵扱いされたなと覚悟して生徒会室に行ってみりゃ、青崎はいつも通りだった。で、以来あいつと俺は会長と副会長で収まってる。
Working relationship, huh? Sojiro sighed at his story. He then said with absolute confidence,
今の話を総合すると、君は単に
Is that how he understood that? Dude. Clearly he had missed the point entirely. This guy, yeah, you can tell his social interaction is maybe not the best always.
なわけあるか。今の話のどこに甘酸っぱい要素があんだよ。俺としちゃあいつを女として見なくなった決定的な事件だったんだがね。
なんだ、違うのか。
A look of disappointment flittered across his face. Tobimaru revised his opinion. Sojiro was something of a simpleton, but there was a quality to him that he could not quite place.
とにかくだ。俺が言いたいのは、青崎青子の好き嫌いの基準ってのは普通じゃないってことだ。
You don't know Gollum Cold? It's like Smeagol. It's the guy that goes, "My precious," and then he has the, he wants the ring and shit. The crazy goblin-looking thing. They made a game about him, which was like the worst game of last year or something. I think. Was it last year? I think it was last year, right? Yeah. It's like the worst game of all time or something. I remember everyone just bashing that game like crazy. Some people might consider quality. Yeah, maybe. It depends on who you ask. Soldier answered that he would keep it in mind as he looked to the clock. They had been talking for a while and lunch was almost over.
もう君からの話はないか？
あ？初めからねえよ、そんなの。
He loves the ring like I love feet. Wow, dedication though. It wasn't that bad, but it was pretty bad. I never heard anyone say anything positive about it. That's how bad it was, at least from my POV, but I never played it myself. Okay. Puts black holes to shame. Yeah, he seems to be a case study alright already. Why had Tobimaru even brought him here in the first place? Sojiro tilted his head in wonder but shook it off to deal with the more pressing matters at hand.
よし。じゃあもう少し付き合ってくれ。飛び丸に聞きたいことがあったんだ。
Oh, time for him to interview him. Tobimaru sat up straight, having never seen Sojiro's face look so serious before. He set aside his rice bowl and cleared his throat.
実は昨日、こんなことがあって。
Is this about the burb or whatever? He spoke solemnly. Actually, I guess maybe that was not yesterday, because again, this was a 10-day skip though, right? So maybe not. And as carefully as possible, he recounted what had occurred the night before. Ooh. Okay.
しずきくんいる？
Whoa. It was 10 to 12 and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped up into Class C, as lively as ever, as if it were an everyday occurrence. Aoko announced her presence. While she wasn't a part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats. Yeah, that's what we were talking about, Shadow, yeah. Okay. She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared to not be the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
Alko kept her tone professional.
俺？しずきならさっき飛び丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
She's looking for him. I wonder why. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Tsukichi as a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was because he actually acted like royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛び丸が？あいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも、築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ。
It's like a surpriseception, dude.
あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
Wow, my guy Kinomi catching strays over here. Rip fucking bozo, dude.
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。
ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
And they vouched for him. Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Alko listened for a bit before turning around and leaving the class with a later. Back here. All the Sojiro talk finished as quickly as it had started. Oh, we didn't get to see what he was talking about. What a tease. What a blue balls moment. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Sojiro, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaru, still sitting across from him, was frowning.
さあ、感想を聞かせてくれ。
He told his yarn as best as he could. Tobimaru fingered his brow as he was angry or concerned. As if he was.
なあ、宗の字。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよな。
Interesting reaction to whatever he said.
失礼な。器用な方だぞ、俺は。
He's like, I'm smart. Shut up. His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicions. It had to be one of the two possible conclusions. That what he had just told him was true, or that Sojiro was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter.
Sojiro, 率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。
Wow. Just get a hotel, you two.
嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃねえ。
Wow.
俺は人間嫌いだから、そんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが、そんなやつまで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら、俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ？
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか？
Hearing his suggestion, Tobimaru's face darkened.
わかった。はっきり言おう。それは幻覚だ。
So he saw something that was weird, and then Tobimaru's like, yeah, that's not real. So you were seeing things? Surely he was just seeing whatever he was seeing. Surely. Imagining it. Hallucinating. Surely. Schizo moment.
正体見たりカレオバナってやつだろうさ。
Ghost, huh?
納得いかないってんなら、いい精神科を紹介してやる。
それが君の感想か。よし。ならいいんだ。
As bitter as Tobimaru's words might have sounded to most, Sojiro swallowed them whole.
そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ。けど都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろ。確かめたかったのはそこなんだ。
Satisfied, Sojiro finished off his last rice bowl and neatly folded the cloth.
おい、すると何か？お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり、腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか？
Wait a minute. breathe fire, extend arms like they're rubber. Is that doll scene from Street Fighter? That's funny. I get it.
まあ普通じゃないけど特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ。ここは山にないものが溢れている何でもありの場所だ。だからそれぐらいやってのける人だってもしかしているのかなと。
That his face was as serious as it made Tobimaru realize just how big of a culture shock he must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity, in a place where the night sky was as it had always been, where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden, it makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure and was an appealing one, but maybe it was natural to forgo civilization when your population was so small. Or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because city life offered him so much that was impossible up until now that he had to come to the conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ。確かにこっちにはたちの悪い奴らばっかりだけどな。そんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ。
No one in this city is a magician in disguise. Well, that's good to know.
そうだといいんだけど。
Yeah. But Sojiro seemed unsure, and on Tobimaru's part there were things to his story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident he had described was disturbing. Yeah, it's called the I don't know, clown on the holy night. No witches, no magicians, no nothing, you know. It's all good.
まあ、事の真偽というか、どんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ。結果だけ見れば、うちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したってことになる。しかも双方控えめに表現しても普通じゃねえ。
Whoa. Well, that sounds ominous. Wow. Damn, dude. As a newcomer to town, Sojiro assumed that everyone in his age was a student at this school. For better or worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持って、もう一人は、まあなんだ、なぎなたでも持ち出したのか。
Wow. Flamethrowers and naginatas? What? Okay. Sojiro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to the disbelief in his voice. Hearing it repeated by someone else, he could see how someone might think he was taking them for a ride. So I guess what he saw was a fight between two people. Where have I heard this before? Certainly not another, kind of normal-ish, dude student that saw, two people fighting and then stuff happened. Nah. Just a coincidence.
尋常じゃないぞその話。
宗十郎、お前、実は俺をからかってんだろ。
いや、全く。けどまあ、都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろう。なら飛び丸の言う通り、夢でも見てたんだ。ここのところ。
Yeah, he was just working too hard. He's just seeing things. Of course. Winter break was just around the corner and the end of terms exams were but a week away. But both were proving formidable opponents for Sojiro.
俺は基本ができてないから、人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら、勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろう。
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、まあ、何にせよ、やりすぎ飲みすぎはよくねえわな。
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he had been busy. Even if he was not going crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream even if this all did go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。都会の。
He nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look the least bit tired.
泣き言言わねえのは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
そりゃ新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
As he answered, Sojiro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
時間だ。
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。
Sojiro watched as Tobimaru made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。そういうの飛丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
Damn, privileges though.
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。
The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him, unfazed.
おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。常人を上回る英気と幸運を兼ね備えながら、座することなく精進してきた俺でも、ここを卒業しちまえば裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。ひでえ話だ。てめえの家柄を活用できんのはあと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。これの一体どこが羨ましいってんだ。普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが、俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。となりゃ有効なうちに使っておかなきゃもったいなくておちおちね。
Sounds like hope. I mean, he probably works hard. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, you know.
バカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ、俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
While he must have been joking, Sojiro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take him for his word. When...
そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き延ばせるのに。なんなら協力してあげましょうか。
She found
この
him.
私でよろしければ。
The door to the council room flew open, washing away Sojiro's half-hearted responses to his friend. Look at his face, he's like, ah shit, dude. Okay, caught. This frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room. And it also marked the abrupt end to Tobimaru Tsukichi's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
そう。なら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Damn. Not missing a beat, Aoko stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled as if she had been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Sojiro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting vice president.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Sojiro quietly got up to head back to his classroom.
割と薄情なんだな。
He's like, good luck, I'm out of here. Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
だから、そういうのが薄情とだな。
He cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojiro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
Not a complaint, it was her honest opinion.
なんだ？要件は総十郎かよ。
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
Whoa. Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual.
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き？
That's a sus question. Aoko asked abruptly. Sojiro frowned a little before saying he was fine with either one.
ダメよ。一つにして。
泳ぐ方かな。けど、どうして？
あなたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
Oh, okay. A succinct reply, one that left no room for him to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。正直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
He can just join the legendary Going Home Club. It's the most famous one of them all.
そんな無茶な。悪いけど、そこまでの暇はないんだ。
でしょうね。
An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Sojiro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tobimaru stood breathlessly silent on the sidelines until Sojiro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。あ、いや違う。きっと分かっているんだな。うん。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
As if he read the regulations. Yeah, maybe not. He stood up from his seat. He walked past Alco and into the hallway.
それ、明日からでいいんだろ？
しずきくんがいいならね。
He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. Ooh, fade to black. And then Tobimaru was killed. Rip Bozo. Oh, he's back. He's back! While watching the events play out, Tobimaru found himself deeply impressed with Sojiro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of him. Sojiro, on the other hand, didn't react. Heedless of what Aoko was doing, he simply went on his way. To Tobimaru, it was hard to believe that Sojiro had not taken offense. From his point of view, Sojiro's poker face had been the performance of a lifetime.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
He looked at Aoko curiously. Aoko stood completely still, staring at the wall. She looked so freaking annoyed, dude.
青崎？
She showed no response.
おい、会長。青崎。青子女子。おい、聞いてんのかよ、青崎青子。
さいはね、青を呼ぶな。
Damn, well, it's your name, so. Her fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway and made Tobimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましい。うるせえのはてめえも同じだ。
Perhaps her shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just the type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前は。
Oh wow.
目覚めたか？
Going for the big guns immediately.
別にあなたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい。
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
ほう、その心は？
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、仰せみたいなものでしょ。
Wow. Damn. No time for any of that shit, dude. Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the assumption that dating was the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題は、お前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだが、まあいいか。いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
ちょっとね、今愛嬌振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
不思議だ。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
飛丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
そうかよ。やっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろう、生徒会長さんはよ。
There was only one thing that Tobimaru could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer. And more lore, backstory.
そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに。
As the conversation wore on, her murderous aura began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calmer demeanor rarely seen from her. It was quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaru had ever seen this side of her at school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだよ。
So what happened?
考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was scowling.
ちょっと待って。あの話、彼にしたの？
Uh-oh.
ああ、俺がてめえに、なんで会長になる？
Oh, is this that thing they were talking about, I guess?
副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて、
Damn, dude.
生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
Aoko let out a sigh, as if relieved that Tobimaru had not told Sojiro the rest of the story. What? Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったもんね。ところで、私そんなこと言ったっけ？
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
Well, since that day, Tobimaru had served as the vice president to the person who'd usurped the role from him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職は合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら、危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
プライド高い分、できることは全部やるからね、飛び丸は。会長職に先進するあまり、気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
やめてくれ、ゾッとしねえ。猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
He shooed her away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of the crude verbal abuse they exchanged on a daily basis with a wittiness that only two longtime foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
は？
He's like, what? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
半年前のここの事件をなんで彼に話したのよ。
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
He stopped himself before he said any more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Sojiro had a thing for her. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that, even if it was all in truth a misunderstanding. Yeah, dude, no snitching, come on, bro, come on, you gotta, stand up for your friend here. Come on. My guy, no snitching.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの
？7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
Really? To me so far, she seems exactly like the person who would hold a grudge for a week, maybe even longer, honestly. But okay, if she says that. He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. Yeah, because I remember a certain, way of her talking about the church that was, related to something that happened a long time ago. Yeah, she doesn't hold any grudges, right? But he come to know her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ。
I mean, she would never admit to it, I guess, so makes sense.
確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。
Wow, new expression unlocked. What is that face? I can't tell what kind of expression that is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be like, oh, keep talking and see what happens? I don't know. Honestly, could be worse, Char, honestly.
別にあんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底
So he thinks that expression was like one you have when you step in shit. Interesting.
まあいっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら私ぐらいそうしないとね。
She said casually, having regained her composure. Tobimaru could not follow her reasoning at all. He was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thought, but having Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel, or hating Sojiro. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted, well, shit, dude. Damn. His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes, bro. Uh-oh. Time to run. He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。
Okay.
けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は
Oh, she just thinks it's like a friend thing? Okay. Sure. Stone Cold Aoko. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Tobimaru found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
Oh my god, he's not helping. He's digging it deeper. What? He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier and was only just realizing it now. Bro, he literally like got out Scott. He blurted out on accident. Then she didn't realize what he meant. And then he could have just ended there. He's like, oh, saved. But then he's like, oh, but this is what it means. Like, bro. Why? The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But an instant is all it was.
Ne?
Oh, still a fairly indifferent reaction though. Okay. She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it would matter to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。
Wow.
お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
He gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよそんなの。つまらないもの。
Wow. Riposo. She ruthlessly cut him off. Thinking of the boys who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaru tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。へえ。
Oh wow.
柄にもなく友達思いじゃない？
Is that a smug face? Oh, oh. Now that is so smug right there though. Okay. Look at that. That's a nice unlock. Ooh. Sure. I mean, that's points from me at least.
ってことは、聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話、教えてあげたんでしょ？
She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tobimaru repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, for ever bringing up her love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるから。
Oh, dude. Now he's too deep, dude. Goodbye. She was smiling, but he wished she'd at least try to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
She nodded with satisfaction as she listened to his hesitant answer.
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。
She sounds like she's ready to kill him.
そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから、これからは気をつけてね。
ね。Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with a heart. Whether angry or happy, she spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaru took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of this situation. There you go, he finally, took note of something. Oof. He knew it was a topic he would be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyway. The bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than a pearl. Okay.
まあ、好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。
I mean, it could be worse. It's not the worst.
だからダメなのね、きっと。
Perhaps to placate Tobimaru, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain. Hey Scott, how you doing?
お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
Thinking that would be the end of it, Tobimaru looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojuro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って。今のどういう
Uh-oh. Her false cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaru answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってよ。違ったか。
Surely she's not gonna grill him about this later. Tobimaru was still in disbelief that Sojiro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out. Ooh, making it sound more mysterious.
理由はないですって。
Uh-oh, maybe he made it worse though?
ああ、なんで俺がいくらお前の
You're starting to understand why the birth rate is so low in Japan. Yeah.
そうそう。理由はどうあれ、青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。どうにも。
Wow.
はっきりしてんのは他の野郎どもと違って、噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Yeah, those are some bloodlusty eyes. He finally noticed a shift in Aoko's demeanor. She was scowling at the wall. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes. Oh.
さっきといいそれといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
Damn. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seethed until it reached the point that she forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he had brought further calamity down upon Sojiro's head. And he keeps doing it anyway, though.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
Tobimaru looked away as if to indicate that he'd rather not know, but Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
Uh-oh.
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimaru thought that last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。 この話をした俺が悪かった。で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
え？授業ってなんで？いつ？
いや、さっき宗の字が出てってから、青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか、生徒会長。5次元目ばっくれて。
おお。
いいわけないでしょ。なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは。
Well, she's gotta go. She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tobimaru raised his hands in mock surrender, a gesture reserved only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。
Ooh.
思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
Well, there you go.
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The vice president smiled a thuggish grin as if her reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元
He's really enjoying this now.
藤代のばあさん、青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
さあ、こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
The merciful god Tobimaru. Oh wow.
あんたなんかにはめられるなんて。このまま死んでしまえ。
She's gonna bite, dude. They need to put like a warning sign to the student council room that there might be a feral beast in there sometimes that attacks. She choked him even harder with his necktie. As Aoko put words into action and mercilessly strangled him, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
いや、待て待て、本当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Aoko glanced up at the clock. It was still only 7 past 1. Her route from the student council room on the second floor to Class A classroom on the 3rd floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
Yeah, same via as Raiko. It's still hard to believe, honestly, because they sound nothing alike. She clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
Yeah, it's Raiko. It's Tomatsu Haruka. Same VA, yeah. She was halfway out of the room before she even finished her sentence. I think she does a lot of anime stuff as well. She's kind of a big name. Finally, all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slumped into a chair. I think she mostly does characters like Aoko. Like, I think Raiko is the irregular one for her. As far as I know, she doesn't really do mommy characters, right? She's not known for that. Which is crazy considering how well she does Raiko, though, right? Yeah. I think she's more accustomed to doing characters like Aoko instead, yeah.
たく。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ。
Yeah, she definitely does more, you know, younger characters, like Aoko's age. He leaned back in the creaky folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All of the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so he had no choice but to settle in for a chilly afternoon. RIP.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃ、また雲行き怪しいって話だが。
After his somewhat suggestive monologue, his mind drifted. He idly wondered to himself whether Sojiro was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy, but no answers came. He just thinks about his bro all the time. Well, man, we're out of school. Oh, that was an eventful school day, I suppose. The school day over, Sojiro headed straight to his job. Of course. Gotta go from studying to making that money. While the school had approved his jobs at this Chinese restaurant and fish market in Misaki's shopping district, there was other work he hadn't mentioned to them. And it was not because he knew that they would complain at him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of one of the job in particular. Today his workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of the Yashirogi station. Wow, wait. I didn't even know you could work on one of these as a minor. I mean, yeah, obviously he's not playing any of the machines, but still, like, I'm surprised they let him be a part-time worker there. Sojiro changed out his school uniform and into a Black Fox tuxedo uniform, then began cleaning the storefront. Yashirogi was the jewel of Misaki City, a busy place with a vast assortment of commercial centers and shopping arcades. Where there were people en masse, there were products en masse, or made en masse. A romantic might describe this as a place of joy, a realist would note the free enterprise, and a cynic would point out all the garbage. Local authorities had attempted to beautify Yashirogi, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. This establishment was the embodiment of that rule. Gamba! Yeah, I guess that makes sense, Scott. Businesses such as this attracted the dregs of society, and as such, the front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. Sojiro stood outside in the winter cold, sweeping used-up cigarette butts, picking up discarded flyers, and tossing empty cans into the trash. Something about it must have reminded him of mountain life, because he cheerfully finished the job with ease. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned to the inside of the parlor, where it was nice and warm. Blinding lights, deafening sounds, and the oppressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on his way to the office. Was this 80s again? I forgot. It's 80s, right? Or something like that? I don't remember, honestly. Maybe it's newer than that. Like when it's set to. Explains all the cigarette stuff at least. 80s, yeah, okay. 88, yeah.
はい、ご苦労様。それでいいかな。2階の40番台のお客さんの様子見てきてくれない？どうも懐に飲んでそうなんだよね。
Uh-oh, someone's cheating. Uh-oh. Time to break her fingers. I've seen Casino. His boss was a good-natured man who used to work a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Sojiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It was because all of the other employees were scary and intimidating, and he wanted to at least one employee who was not. He'd rather clean the toilets? What a fucking guy, dude. I'd do anything else. Damn, he's got a cheat sensor? Wow. Sad, unlucky for him, online gaming was not a thing back here, so, you know, they could just hire him for that stuff instead, if this was more modern. Hearing that, he put away his cleaning equipment and headed upstairs. It was a typically large-scale pachinko parlor with 2 floors. It prided itself on being a local establishment that was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to more exploitative means. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Among them were casual players, professional gamblers, and cheaters looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed by or in the mid-80s that could disrupt a machine's circuitry from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called a 777 jackpot. Wow. Dude, we are learning so much about pachinko here. I know barely anything. I just know you throw balls in it and, you know, you hope for them to land on some good shit, I guess. That's all I know. As much as the parlor wanted to deny these cheaters entry, he needed to present hard evidence of cheating or risk losing customers. Particularly in the service industry, innocent until proven guilty was not a rule taken lightly. As a result, they could only punish the customers they caught in the act. Such cheaters were known as gotoshi, a slice of society which Sojiro knew nothing about. What he did know was that they were inconveniencing his employer and violating their rules. He went upstairs. The radio and game machine sounds on the second floor were quieter than the cacophony downstairs. Cacophony? Maybe, yeah. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second. While there were some empty seats here and there, it was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aisle. Sojiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customer hit the jackpot over and over again. Yeah, that's pretty sus. Oh! Wait a minute. That's a familiar looking jacket, I think. Oh! Okay. The second he saw her, his gut told him that she was not cheating. He still was not sure what made someone a master swindler, but if it meant they were special, this woman certainly fit that description. It was almost as if he could feel the luck emanating from her. As the customers looked on, she silently turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Sojiro. She wore a green form-fitting one-piece dress. A pair of stockings covered her legs. Her slender legs were gracefully crossed, and her elegance suited a painting better than a casino. Ooh, yeah, I mean, it has to be Toko, right? Yeah. Her dark reddish hair was cut short like a bob, perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. Truth be told, someone was off about this picturesque beauty, or something was off, ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at her feet, and her winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as her slender porcelain fingers lifted a long cigarette to her lips. Just as that thought crossed his mind, her gaze turned toward the wall and Sojiro. Whoa. Whoa, that was a moment. Suddenly a chill ran down his spine. He reflexively covered his mouth to keep from shrieking. Oh, she was the one that he saw, like, I guess one of the fighters then? Whoa, okay. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Oh wow. Dude, he's been spotted, time to run. Acting on pure instinct, he took off running. He headed straight downstairs, desperate to not be on the same floor as her. Yeah, it sounded like the FGO summon circle activating. It's pretty funny. He would have run straight out the door, but his obligations to his but for his obligations to his job. Wow, that's not sus at all. He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, jamming his school uniform into a paper bag as he ran out of the parlor. Whoa. Cloudy weather brought the shadow of night over Yashirogi as he ran through the shopping arcade toward the station. He shot up the long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulled his train pass from his wallet, and passed through the ticket gate. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. There was now a familiar, comforting hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he witnessed the night before. He could finally breathe again. The momentary rush of relief brought him to an abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way that dangerous individual could be behind him. He couldn't think of a good reason for why he'd fled so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion about her. Sojiro gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together and quickly made his way down the platform. Unfortunately, the next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favors, so he quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people waiting for the train just like he was. If you're talking about Maho Yoru specifically, we don't know yet, Jun. All that we know that Sojiro saw her the night before, and apparently he thought that was a hallucination. Maybe it was like two people fighting or something based on how I interpreted it. But yeah, we don't know exactly what happened. I assume they might show that at some point, but right now we don't really know. So that was the first time they actually showed her, just now. And no sign of anyone pursuing him. His head finally cleared up and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. Though he was surprised at how heavy his shoulders felt. He sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. He had certainly struggled since coming down from the mountains, but in retrospect it could have been worse. Physically he was probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. He got fear from just like terror proc from just looking at her. The city and the mountains could not have been more different. He had been slow to recognize the differences and adapt. Acclimation was simply enough. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. Even without any effort, one would learn to adjust over time. Recognizing the challenges had been the hard part. He grumbled a complaint he'd never uttered before. To be honest, he was still afraid to wander around town. There were so many things city people took for granted that he had yet to grasp. It was a little wonder that this never-ending chain of surprises would wear on him. Damn, he's still, huffing that copium. Or, whatever you want to call it. He muttered to himself, then shook his head. That which exists, exists. Such was the way of all things. Tobimaru had called it a hallucination, but he knew what he saw was real. Ooh. The city was a magical kingdom compared to the mountains. If there were real magicians secretly living here, that should have been no surprise at all. The thought alone made his legs tremble. It took him a moment longer to realize that they were quivering out of fear. He had feared the unnatural ever since he encountered a wild bear on the mountain path as a child. He smiled a little as he recalled his traumatic childhood memory. Anyone would have fainted at the sudden appearance of a growling beast that towered over 6 feet tall. The monster in the movie that he saw not 2 days ago was the equivalent of a cuddly stuffed animal when compared to the wild mountain creatures. He was reminded that he'd faced far worse before, and his ordeal now was something he could endure. Wow, that sounds scary. At face value, the meaning was obvious, but the implications were simply too frightening to contemplate seriously. Perhaps he had misheard the words, or perhaps the speaker had misspoke. It's always spoopy when they stop all sounds besides like voice acting. Even as he said it, the idea didn't quite feel real. It was hard to imagine that it applied to him. Sojiro breathed in and closed his eyes. His vision dimmed, putting the illuminated cityscape out of sight and out of mind. For now, he resolved to put last night's events behind him. When he opened his eyes, his breathing had calmed.
それでさ、青崎を殴りつけようとして、結局どうなったんだ、飛び丸。
The question suddenly popped into his head. He decided he would ask next time and stood up from his chair. A long streak of light blazed by, announcing the arrival of the next train. Whoa. So that was it for the exchange for now. Wow. Damn, blue balls though. Whoa. Ooh. Oh, that was the chapter. Oh wow. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's do a save. Hey, that's pretty perfect timing, honestly, if you ask me. Wow. Very cool. Let's see. Anything new on the archive? Oh, is this new? I assume this is new. There's no new tags on it, though. Yeah, these are new, right? How long do you think these are? Should we still read these? Or are these like... they say new. They do? Am I blind? I don't see new. It's not new? I thought these were the latest ones. Like, these were added afterwards, so... Oh, I forgot now. Yeah, it's always the chapter itself, right? Like, this is chapter 1. This is the interlude part that I read. And this is chapter 2 now. And next would be, like, interludes again. Ah, right. So, yeah, this is what I just read. Yeah, that makes sense. I forgot that's how this one worked, too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know why. It's kind of a weird way to archive stuff, honestly, but, you know, sure. I guess I kind of know how it works now, yeah. Sure. We might stop here for today, I think. Yeah, even if it's, like, you know, a little short from a normal stream, but I feel like this is a great stopping point, honestly. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm still happy I managed to stream this long anyway, because, you know, I had the migraine this morning. But again, thank God it was literally in the morning when I woke up. Well, it sucks that I had it anyway, but, you know, at least I had time to rest before the stream, so I could do this anyway. Very, very nice. Because, you know, I like this game. I do want to keep, you know, reading it. Maybe even more next week, actually. I think Star Rail at least happens next week, but maybe even more of this. Because I think Chom is on Monday, yeah. Although I will probably just do a small stream on Monday, just for Gacha, I think, because again, I don't really read DNA story on stream. So Monday will probably just be Gacha and that's it. And then maybe even still a normal week from Wednesday to Sunday, regardless. Yeah, that might be what's happening. Okay. Will tomorrow be 4 hours of lethal? What mods? I mean, probably a full stream, yeah. Unless it becomes too intolerable. Then maybe not, but I mean, I think the plan is to do a full stream. Yeah. I think we might do the same thing as last time, like no mods, just the basic experience with, you know, like the intended way to play the game with, you know, 4 people, because, you know, it's probably more scary as well. As much as I hate to admit it, it's probably more scary anyway. So we might just continue on that note. And if there's a lot of people wanting to play, we might be able to even rotate some players out, I think, you know, if needed. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, tomorrow, Lethal Company. Can't say I look forward to it, honestly. Because I can't handle that game all that well. But, you know, it was the sub goal, so has to happen, I guess. Yeah, hopefully, Scott, hopefully. It's been pretty rough this past week or two. Because, you know, 2 migraines in like 6 days apart is not good. But here's hoping it calms down after this. Right. So, yeah, with that, I think we're going to wrap up today's stream. Okay. Pretty happy with today, at least. Minus the migraine. I'm happy this stream happened because, you know, I would have absolutely been so mad if I had to cancel this stream twice in a row. Because, I did have to cancel it last week because of the same reason. Okay. Cool. Anyway, then, yeah, so for today, thank you for all the subs, the resubs, the gifted subs, the bits and the tips and the follows, and of course, most importantly, thank you so much for being here on this Thursday. And on that note, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday or Friday, wherever it is you're at. And yeah, tomorrow back with some Lethal Company, hopefully with no issues, and hopefully not too many panic attacks from me. Hopefully, we'll see. Anyway, check YouTube for any videos you may have missed, like the gacha from yesterday. It's pretty sad though, so, you know, there's not much to see, honestly.